Welcome to Critically Drinking. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Critically Drinking. I'm your host, Rashawn. I want to just acknowledge everybody here. We got Bree in the building. Got to hit that connection. We got Risa Neal in the building. Hello, hello. I hate when I start getting alerts when I'm online. Oh, shit. We got Nova Rain in the building. Yeah. We had to, get a little bus driving music going on here today. Coco Melon go hard. Absolutely. Bree. As we start the month out, we got May the Thirst here. We are here on May the Thirst. Man, welcome to the stream. Yellow Pill Coffee Co. in the building. Also, obviously, drinking, coffee drinking. So that's how we do here. Obviously, he's moving. He's moving. Just gonna go ahead and mute that for a moment because I have no idea what he's doing. So hello everybody, hope everybody's doing good. Well, Talk Productions, Wally is in the building, man. Salute to you, good to see you. I know you were changing some things around on your channel last time I saw you. There you go, he got finished fighting. Everybody was kung fu fighting. What's going on with you, my guy?
Chilling, man. Chilling. That intro was crazy.
Yeah, I had to do something. I had to do something for the bus. We busting it down today. So got my he's doing the shuffle. Yeah, he was definitely doing something. I definitely have my bus driver badge here. So I am bus driver 3STY. I'm thirsty. Thirsty. That 3 is gonna be, we got the May the Thirst up here. I'm thirsty. So we are critically drinking, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today we're gonna talk about my interpretation of a conversation that's been going on with it was an interview between Iyanla Vanzant and Ebony K Williams, I believe her name is. So I thought about it, and I know I have Love and Basketball on the thumbnail. That's going to come into play, but that's not where I'm going to start. And we will bring Love and Basketball into it briefly, and we're also going to talk a little bit, react to Yanni's conversation about that as well. I wanted to acknowledge, though, I want to start here. I want to acknowledge Candid Ann, because Candid Ann in my Discord has been dropping health tips. And whiskey, everybody. Whiskey may have beneficial effects. Speaking of critically drinking, when consumed in moderation, no more than 3 ounces of whiskey per day for men. As you see, half of that for women. So it has a high level of polyphenols, plant-based antioxidants linked with a lowering your risk of heart disease. Been shown to decrease bad cholesterol and increase good cholesterol or fat in your blood. So salute to you, Candid Ann, and everybody out there. Go ahead and, get your daily shot. Okay, so start with that. I got to get a new bottle of Crown, but I do have something else to replace that. Now today's tip from Candidan. Got to shout out Candidan. Today's happiness tip, and I'm going to read this verbatim. Okay, I'm going to read today's tip verbatim. You love Jack? You should be good. That's what's up. I do like some Jack to us. Ooh, that one burns though. Oh no. Oh, I'm doing today's tip. You got to give him the tip, Bree. You got to give him the tip. You don't not give him the tip. That's not what we do with tips. So today's happiness tip, everybody. Masturbation is a normal, healthy part of sexual development. During an orgasm, feel-good hormones such as dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin are released. Additionally, it can be a healthy way to learn about your body. No risk of pregnancy or STIs. According to a Harvard health professional study, men who ejaculated 21 times or more in a month experienced a 33% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to men who ejaculated 4 to 7 times a month. And ladies, masturbation can strengthen your pelvic floor. The contractions that occur with orgasm strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, helping with urinary issues like incontinence. I wanted to let everybody know to have a happy hump day from Candidan. And thank you, man. We starting off the stream early, and I'll update the graphic between shows or tomorrow. But thank you. We got Nova Rain with the Cash App.
She said the nigga so got Cash App.
Cash App, Cash App. She don't make a move without Cash App. Cash App, Cash App. Send that money over to her ass app.
Man, appreciate you, man. We are a little bit closer to this month's goal. Thank you, everybody. I'm not going to skip ahead. Let me go back to where I was. I want to try to keep a flow. So after today's tip, hey, and we got, whoa, okay, we got more from Nova Rain, man. He's giving it up, man. He really liked the tip. Nova really enjoyed the tip. He said he's a little bit more. He said he wants the shaft now. He wants the whole shaft. So, Nova wants us to go. Man, he wants us to go deep, y'all.
The Prince of Pan-Africanism is back, showing love to all my donors and supporters. We've been at it for 2 hours and we still got donations to go through.
I'll take that.
See, I get love. Y'all focus on the hate, I focus on the love.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot.
I got another donation. Donations. 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 Donations.
Wow, that's a lot.
Gifts. 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 More gifts. More gifts. More gifts.
Wow, thanks.
Man, I definitely appreciate you, Nova Rain, because Nova Rain is also a patron in the Patreon. So, I mean, everything that you're doing, man, definitely helps keep the channel going. A lot of the services that we use. So, yeah, he said all those donations was wasted. Don't be doing Umar like that. Don't be doing Umar dirty, man. The school is up. The HVAC has been ordered. The HVAC is in, family. Family, the HVAC has been installed. The HVAC has been installed. The HVAC has been installed. Now we're waiting on the mops. We are waiting on the mops, family. We are waiting on the mops. Somebody's got to clean this building. Right now, it's just me, family. Right now, it's me in here with this one broom, and I don't have a mop, family. Family, we need more donations so we can get this mop, family. Family, we got to get this mop. The kids need to have a clean learning environment when we start the DMG Learning Academy this fall. Everybody, we need the mops. I'm just joking. Mr. He said in the building, man. Shout out to B9 also who came through. Appreciate y'all. It's up, yeah. It took a while. And we got Dan Eek in the building, man. We got Dan Eek, man, with the Cash App, man, showing love, man. Y'all are
amazing.
Amazing. Amazing.
Man, definitely appreciate you, man, for that, man. Real quick, man, because y'all about to take care of the thing off the top, man. Let's get a little thong song, because y'all starting off strong. This is gonna be the strong song. Goddamn, stick a truck. Guys like what? All night long. Let's get that on. Definitely want to send a shout out to everybody that's been given to the channel, man. Appreciate y'all so much. I definitely want to give credit real quick to the April, since we're closing out the month. Give me a quick second. April donations, man. In the Patreon, we had Durian Nova, and we did do about three streams over there on the Patreon, man. So shout out to you, gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for y'all support. And again, also on the cash donation side, we had Anania. For my family, we had Mara, my mother. We had Hanifa Naila, Midnight Snack, Rico, Kanzanan, New Growth, Old Soul, JP, Danny Anthony, Mr. He Said, and Mr. C Said of Harris Tribe Media Group, E-Black TV, Chef Shapino, Quantum, Nova again, Danique again, M3Z of Knowledge and M3 of Knowledge and Relationships. So thank all of you. This, of course, allows me to have the services that run the channel, but also have allowed me to acquire. I've outsourced some work, some audio work from a dear friend of ours that we all know her name. So we will be getting some audio work done. I'm going to have some clips associated to kind of segment the show out. That's what I wanted to do for the channel. And it allowed me to pay for those services. And again, keeping the economic engine within the, even within the group of Black YouTubers that we exist in. So understand that I'm doing this for you. I'm not trying to do something to get new people. I'm not like big tech companies trying to woo new people. I want to invest in the product that you're getting because you have been here and you've been pouring into me. So we got to keep that cycle. That's the algorithm. Y'all feed me, I'm gonna feed y'all. So that's how we go. But I did want to just really quickly, man, just acknowledge that, because again, y'all been pouring it in quick. I had intended to play this, but I really don't need to at this point, but still will.
This is a very real thing. It costs money to do. And I want to continue to facilitate a product that is of a particular quality because I enjoy doing this, right? I enjoy bringing this information to you all, and you all enjoy engaging in it.
You're going to acknowledge me.
you gotta acknowledge, man. I want to acknowledge all of y'all too, because the way y'all acknowledge your boy. So on tap for the day, everybody. Now we got Yellow here, being quiet for a second while I'm running through my spiel. We got a double barrel, y'all. We got a double barrel of whiskey for Whiskey Wednesday today. Today's show, this first part, me and Yellow are going to sit here and chop up some video commentary. Leah, shout out to Leah, came in for this sermon. And I think I shouted out Mr. He Said. This evening, though, I'm going to have an open panel where I'm going to just exclusively react to the video of the interview between Iyanla and Ebony K Williams. This portion right now is going to be a lot more diversified. It's not going to be just the one thing. It's not open panel. But today is May the Thirst. So today, to quench that thirst, of course, man, we're gonna give you all of this topic, man. We're gonna cover this topic. But I've got a lot to go in. I have a sponsor. I have a sponsor for today's stream, everybody. And I want to get you a word from them. I should have had it ready. But y'all caught me off guard with the donations. Now share screen, share video file. Yeah, let's get this in. Word from today's sponsor. Yes. Let's bring this in.
I'm stranded or something other.
With so much good, so close to home, you don't have to go far to go far.
Now I know you can't talk.
Man, shout out to Greyhound for sponsoring today's stream, man. You know, when we talk about bus drivers, man, nobody is on the open road more than our bus drivers and school bus drivers. So again, thank you for today's sponsor, Greyhound, for taking the stand to acknowledge those hardworking men and women who are on the open road day in and day out. We salute you, all of you wonderful, hardworking bus drivers. Absolutely. Y'all don't deserve to be thrown under the bus. But also today, I saw a post. I wanted to acknowledge it kind of plays into this. Red Lipstick Vibes had a community post. And it talked about loneliness. How loneliness is such an epidemic or so pervasive that they've qualified it a certain way. But I'm going to let the Surgeon General speak for himself. I went and found a clip about it, but we're going to start here because we're talking about discounting people and shunning relationships. So we want to talk about how loneliness plays into this equation.
Clubs are taking off, and it's not just the exercise.
You're connecting with someone, which is something that I was kind of missing.
More and more people are missing that connection and are feeling lonely.
The pandemic poured fuel on a fire that was already burning.
Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, says loneliness is an epidemic, the focus of an 80-page advisory he is releasing today.
We're used to thinking about smoking and obesity as clear public health concerns.
So you're saying loneliness is comparable to smoking in terms of the detriment to your health?
Yeah, in terms of the risk that it poses for premature death, yes.
Half of U.S. adults experience measurable loneliness, and it's greater among young adults.
When you struggle with loneliness, when you're socially disconnected, it increases your risk of depression and anxiety and suicide, but it also increases your risk of physical illness as well.
Loneliness increases the risk for heart disease, stroke, and among older adults, dementia. The cure, Dr. Murthy says, is not only personal change, but societal change as well.
What we need to do is actually rebuild social infrastructure in our country.
You're talking about changing the social fabric. That's been decades in the making.
It's been decades in the making, but it's also something that I'm confident that we can address if we put our mind to it and if we act together.
Among his recommendations, a focus on community organizations, mobilizing the health sector to raise awareness, and reconsidering how we use technology.
In-person matters.
Technology.
Connecting online has its place, has its value, but it's not a substitute for in-person connection. We really do need both.
Cultivating and supporting time together, face-to-face, because our health depends on it. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
That last part right there.
Mm-hmm.
That last part right there. A lot of people, this kind of what I've been talking about with this app the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Under the guise of entertainment, this has become people's way to not be lonely in some aspect, or for their way to connect with people without having to actually go outside, without having to actually participate in society. That's why you see a lot of people who do this or participate and struggle socially. They have issues struggling to deal with people socially,
mm-hmm.
to be successful in social situations. That's why I'm like, I'm glad I was loud ignorant before this. You know what I'm saying? I was definitely loud and ignorant before all of this started happening. So,
yeah, for sure. Let me see. I'm just trying to get that layout.
But I get it though, because that's kind of what I was talking about with Candid Ann, like I think about a week or so ago. It's kind of about a week ago. All right,
week ago. Yeah.
Because it's people that's just miserable because they're lonely. They've got everything else. They've got everything else. they've achieved the financial status that people think they house straight. They might not have no kids, parents straight, whatever it is, but it's the fact that there ain't nobody there with them. Ain't nobody to wake up to. Man, there's somebody to wake up to.
And there's something about our standards that we need to talk about. So I wanted to talk about the instead of people taking responsibility or accountability for our own shortcomings, everyone is kind of outsourcing their insecurities. And that's kind of what we talked about a little bit yesterday. We're outsourcing our insecurities. Everybody in the dating space, when we complain, the whole SBE, the shaming and blaming and explaining, a lot of that is outsourcing of insecurities. You're offloading it onto the opposite gender and making it their problem that you're lonely, making it their problem that you're single. So what that came to mind for me was passing the ball. Passing the buck is what most people would say, but passing the ball. It reminded me of something from street ball, something from playing ball when I was coming up. Checking, like a check up. We call it like check up, check the ball, check ball. Like it was always something like that. Check ball, check up. We're passing the ball back and forth. And there's a specific way to do that. And I wanted to go over it kind of like metaphorically. In street ball, the basketball is inbounded through checking to a player from the opposing team. The opposing team. This is because there are no referees to regulate this game. And we know in this gender space, there are no referees between men and women. We got to figure this out between ourselves. We have to develop a method, a code of relating to each other, even even with our differences. We have to find a way to accept and pass on accountability and responsibility. What's ours and what's yours? Checking the ball in basketball is a way in street ball to inbound the ball and start play. The way it works is the player at the top of the arc says check and passes the ball to their opponent that's guarding them. As soon as the defender passes the ball back, the defender, the opponent will hold the ball until they're ready and then give the ball back to the person who took the ball out of bounds. And that's when they get the ball back, that's when the play is considered live. Just an example of that from the beloved movie Love and Basketball, which I probably only seen once.
Check.
Check.
Until the person who is who has the ball gives it to their opponent. The opponent acknowledges that ball and gives it back. Then only then can play go on. So right now the ball is blame. The ball is accountability. And everybody's just trying to dunk on each other. But we're skipping the first part. You got to check the ball. You got to check up. You got to check up. You have to hand this thing to the opponent. Women have to hand it to men and men have to hand it to women. You have to you have to settle yourself because you got to get ready to defend. You got to get ready to play. Life is happening. And then you give it back. And then you give it back because we both have to take accountability before we keep moving on. Nobody is absolved. Nobody at all. Let me see. Give me a second. Chat requests a wrestling analogy instead. Okay.
So in the company Ring of Honor, which Tony Khan, who owned AEW, he just bought, they actually go by a code of honor. So they actually shake hands before each match. It's a standard practice that each match they shake hands. So essentially, that's the same way, that's the same idea, checking the ball. Y'all agreeing, both sides agree that this match or this game is, or this possession is about to start. And then you shake hands afterwards. But yeah, man. Yeah, like tapping gloves. Yeah, like tapping gloves. Yep, like tapping gloves. Yep. So that's basically what it is, and I'm with him on that because it's not. It does more. It does more than just initiate the game. It's the agreement. I understand the game we about to play. I understand that we gonna play fair. I understand we gonna play balance. That ain't happening.
That's not happening because nobody wants to take the ball out. Nobody wants to hold the rock. That's the ball. Nobody wants to hold the ball. Nobody wants to hold the blame. Everybody just wants to dunk it on the other person. Just dunk it, run up and dunk it. No, that's against the rules. Everybody's got to touch up. But,
or I was gonna look at it like this, right? This is an analogy I can use. As men, if we check women the ball, that puts them on offense. They don't want to check the ball back, and vice versa. Nobody wants to be on defense. Everybody want to be on offense. Everybody wants to go attack and wants to go dunk on you. They ain't checking the ball back. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if I'm giving you the issue, you don't check it back. So, yeah.
That's the problem. Anybody that you see online talking about the other gender without being able to couch the issue with some accountability for the gender they're speaking from, automatically know that that's a problem. If you cannot hold the ball to settle yourself, and okay, what are the I statements? What are the we statements? Where are we in this equation? Because if we're only trying to dunk on somebody, there's no utility to that. Nobody can progress from that. The game can't be played in that manner. We need some rules. So I want to bring up a conversation. I want to bring up a piece of the conversation between Iyanla and Ebony K Williams. It's about 3 minutes, 2.5 of this conversation. I want to walk through what's useful from this conversation because a lot of people are talking about it, and I want to also take out and point out what's not useful from it. But I'm going to bring this in, and we're going to play about 2 minutes, 30 seconds of that.
But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver?
Hell no.
Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus?
Hell no.
If he owns the bus,
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalance. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9. 9. Okay? Because you're a black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
I think that's a factual analysis. For whatever we want, expect, we're told we were going to get, we got to look at the numbers and what's available on the marketplace. So you're certainly not wrong in the analysis. And Yana, let's.
You got to look at the numbers and what's available. Why is she making the ugly face, beloved? I honestly don't know, beloved. I don't know, beloved.
I love it. That was so slick. That was like bless. That's like the bless your heart.
Yeah, bless your heart.
Oh, child. That's beloved.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody dropped the beloved on you. You just fucked up.
Yeah, not child labor. I wanted to thank Iyanla for helping clear things up about what our issue is about trying to find quality connections. Our sponsor would like to remind you that this is never an issue on their quality fleet of buses.
GoFundMe to fund my Kickstarter. It's killing it.
That's dope. I just ordered Toy Story 3. What about yourself, man? What'd you get? Checking our bank account.
How's it look?
Simply because you got free Wi-Fi, it doesn't mean you have to use free Wi-Fi. That's right.
That's right. Hey, man, I'll trade accounts with you if you want.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
Still bad.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about the quality of your connections if you are taking the Greyhound with your bus driver. You have quality connections 100% of the way to your destination. Thank you, Greyhound, for being our sponsor for today. She was not trying to hear that. It seems she may think she is better than the bus driver. Absolutely. And greetings, Von Bryant. Von Bryant is in the building. Good evening, sir. Now, I did want to say to the clip. I said this yesterday as well. Ebony K Williams, somebody of her public stature, she herself should probably not seek to get a bus driver simply because of the type of life she lives. She probably needs somebody who could feel comfortable being in the social domain. We've seen a lot of people like Oprah, who's got Stedman, who isn't as public. We've seen a lot of people who are uber famous that have non-public partners where it could work. But most people like to have their partners with them at a lot of these events. And I can't imagine the average bus driver wanting to be all of the places that Ebony K Williams is. So as a practical point, it wouldn't make sense for Ebony K Williams to look for a bus driver. But a lot of the people who listen to that and we're doing all the, hi, yes, right, girl. A lot of y'all be on the bus. Like a bus driver might do you good. You could say that bus pass money because he going to let you on with that wink. So for the rest of us, the rest of y'all, bus driver might be all right. But for Ebony K, I just want to set that straight. No. On that clip, though, what did you think? I know you said it felt like a chicken soup for the soul, but
I was gonna say you 100% right though on the fact that her in particular. That's why I say I get why she was probably making the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem for me with her in particular isn't that she was making the face at the bus driver idea, is that I know that I'm about to shut down and I'm not about to listen to no aspect of what she's talking about. Man. And that's what it was. Because, and I know you're going to get into it later, but at the end of that clip, what I noticed is that Iyanla had she was trying to say, or because the way she put it about the pool being so small was the exact opposite, right? It was the exact opposite of what Iyanla was trying to say. That's why she was like, or, because she was about to tell us another way to say it, because you still trying to say it your way instead of hearing, and it's crazy as hell because she said what I said yesterday about the Giannis interview, and the fact that that writer or that journalist had that preconceived expectation about Giannis and his performance and how he should have did.
Yep. Do you see the season as a failure?
Right. Do you see this man as a failure because he don't make what you want? He don't make exactly what you want him to make, but he makes something decent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Because I don't know. Bus drivers probably. I mean, it really depends on where you work at. I'm pretty sure some of them people, and that's what I'm saying. You talking about a bus driver? He been driving the bus for 20 years because you grown as hell. So you probably meet a dude who been driving the bus 20 years. Yo, his pension finna be fire, son. Especially if he worked for like the city. pension finna be fire. And that's what I was talking about. Motherfuckers be trying to get rich on having millions when long-lasting rich is retirement fund, social security, pensions, those type of shit, actually working the job. We done got too comfortable with trying to shame people who work so they can set that up. That's why you work. Because guess what? If you just making money, you don't have that set up. That's why millionaires need to keep millions, because they don't have, Beyonce ain't got no social security shit set up. You know what I'm saying? It don't work like that with them. That's why when you get that rich, you usually stay that rich. You know what I'm saying? But man, we gotta understand what type of life we trying to set up. You ain't got nothing set up. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got nothing set up, then look. So yeah, that's the whole thing about it though. The expectations on what he was supposed to do, and that's why she said that shit. So go ahead, I am.
Yeah, I wanted to play that. You referenced that. You referenced that Giannis clip. I'm gonna play that. I know it's about basketball, but think about the principles behind what this man is saying and what Yella just said. Everybody's not going to get a CEO. So like if your measure of success is only the top level, you're going to be setting yourself up for extreme disappointment, because most of us are going to fall somewhere on the spectrum of life. And that's what kind of Giannis is talking about here.
Exact same question, but I'm curious.
Boo, don't stop playing. Don't stop. That's dirty. So it's not going to work. That's dirty. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have a problem. All right, well, that's not going to work. And this is playing from my computer. I'm not sure why that's doing that. I wanted to get into the Ebony K Williams thing. I wonder if I got to pull this out. Give me a second. I'm going to try something real quick, because I had two videos pulled up. So I wonder if that's why one wouldn't work. Give me a second, y'all. About 10, 20 seconds. Let me see. Present video file. Because I did have two up in this joker. I know. I got the big red.
Exact same question, but I'm curious. Do you view this season as a failure?
Do you view this season as a failure?
Okay, because I'm not that up.
Because I don't own the bus.
You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay, do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion.
It's killing me because this file is on my computer.
Be able to take care of your family. To be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, you know. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, you know. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me.
Look at the stat line. He gonna ask him about the failure.
Yeah.
38 and 12. And then you ask him about being a failure.
Yeah, you're not gonna be at the top all the time. Even if you hit the top, you're not gonna stay there. That's not the way life works. And like when Ayanna said, "Would you date a bus driver?" The response was, "He's got to own the bus." Not everybody's gonna be there. And like Yella said something about the stats on that. And Ebony K Williams, she relented and she was like, you know, the numbers. We got to be accurate about we have to be considerate about the numbers. We have to understand the positioning. So I decided to look into the numbers. Bus drivers versus owner operators. So in mass transit, the amount of bus drivers is about 141K nationwide, 51% which are male, which is going to be 72,000. School bus drivers, we have 366,000, 44% which are male, which is about 161,000. So for a grand total, we have about 233K male bus drivers between those two major industries, mass transit and school bus drivers, 233K. Now, in the United States, we have over 100 bus companies, but we don't have 200. So that's regardless of men regardless of whether it's male or female owned, operated, family owned, operated, publicly owned, operated. There are about 100 to 200. What bus drivers make? They make about 33K. I looked that up too. It was about 33K. That's the average. Give me a second. Not much above the national average was about 33K, which is not much above my 23K Joe. Not far above that. But again, that includes all areas, including rural areas. So, of course, that would depress the average because you do have a lot of places where they don't make a lot. Then other places like New York and California had much higher rates. But still, we have 233K male bus drivers, roughly, not an exact figure, roughly about 250,000. Let's say 250,000 male bus drivers. We only have 150 to 200 owner operators, like owners of a male, like of a bus company. So would you rather, if you're looking for a mate, a husband or wife, if you're looking for a mate, would you rather in the United States of America select from 250,000 people or 150 people? Who would you rather try to sort through? What pool would you rather be in? The large pool of 250,000 people or 150 people? And again, I did not select for male or female with 150. 10 to 20, 25% of them, 30% of them might be women or family owned. So that's not even a man. So you might, as far as owning the bus, you might have less people than will watch my stream. There'll be less men in the United States that own a bus company or own the bus than will have views on a channel that has 170, 80 people. I'll have more views on this video. Who would you rather try to find somebody from? That's why the numbers matter. That's why reason matters. That's why logic matters. Because loneliness is killing people. It's a problem. They're calling it an epidemic. So you can stay lonely, or you could adjust your mentality, which we talked a lot about yesterday, adjusting your mentality. You can adjust your mentality and get on with your life with somebody in your corner. And that's a normal person. I'm not talking about Ebony K. She might need to select a little differently than the rest of us. That's where this clip fails. She needs to select differently than the rest of us. Fuzzy, feely fairies don't like these stats. Of course, nobody likes stats. Nobody really likes to move their position based on information. They like to move it based on feeling, and that's cool. But Yellow, before I bring this next clip in, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it, and I might as well just go ahead and say it because I ain't spouting no misogyny in a minute. But them fuzzy, feely fairies got a better chance of finding the needle in the haystack because it's more of them. It's probably more of them than a bus driver. But you know, you ask the average woman what pile she would choose from, she's still gonna jump into the small pile. Because I heard her talking about when you in your divinity and you get your crown right and all that, anytime that's coming out, because a woman who's speaking still single. Because I was looking up and I was seeing a whole bunch of stuff about her talking about find happiness in single mommyhood and blah. So you still single. So at this point,
what up, Dury? And you're right. In certain places, bus drivers do make a decent amount. One person that was in the comment section on one of the videos talked about their bus driver person. They made over 100K. It really is situational. Yeah. But as opposed to worrying about the money, let's worry about the man. Men and women need to worry about the person and not the product. But go ahead, y'all. I see.
No, you gotta stop talking about. I was just saying because it clicked. It was like it's not her face, her facial expression, her part of it ain't even about the money. It's the appearance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time for women, it's the idea of being able to say what he does and be proud of what you say he does.
Mm-hmm. Status.
That's why I had to ask somebody else, like, would you be proud if your man looked like this while he worked? And the response wasn't favorable. It wasn't, but it's like, if he paying the bills and he taking care of what he got to do, you know what I'm saying? What do it matter what he do? Some of the worst jobs you could probably describe is the ones that pay the most. The people that go down in the sewers and dig through them city workers, them niggas make money. They ain't getting no cheap money for going down there and doing that. So, man, look. Get them dollars, fellas. But it's them type of dudes. It's crazy though, because it's them type of dudes who experience that, having things together, like having the financial situation straight, but they can't find they can't have the partner, or they can't have the female part because the appearance thing. They don't want the person who making $100K because he working in the sewer. They want the dude who making $100K because he being seen. You know what I'm saying? Or he's somebody popular. He's an influencer or some shit like that. So
facts. I'm gonna bring in this because it's specific to Ebony K Williams. I did want to point out, because a lot of people will use they'll use these celebrities as a model for them to set their mentality off of, their ideology, how they should approach their relationships and dating and stuff like that. They use these mantras, but I want to kind of poke a hole into what she's saying, because I acknowledge that herself as a socialite probably should not be getting a bus driver. I admit that, but I want to I want to make sure that I contextualize her position, because like Yella said, he's seen more. And I want to show you guys a little bit more about her perspective in specific, so that we're not running with these narratives. Bus drivers on a daily hold a great deal of responsibility, not just for the safety of the passengers, but also pedestrians. Also find themselves in some sticky situations involving drunks and crackheads. Absolutely. But let's get Ebony K back in here, because she did some other media.
I think, like a lot of couples, Wendy, it made us tell the truth about our relationship.
How long were you with him before quarantine?
Almost 4 years.
Did you live with him at the time of quarantine?
I'll tell you what happened. He actually did not quarantine with me. He has 3 children, 2 of which are young adults, and he chose to quarantine in New Jersey with his semi-adult children. And for me, listen, I'm not a parent yet, so I get that they're number one.
Right.
But I need to be number one, Wendy. You know what, this quarantine,
So she was engaged. She was engaged to be married. And she, again, hit the quarantine like many of us did, and her partner chose to spend time with his children. And you heard her say, you heard what she said. Excuse me. So I wanted to offer context to the impossible standards that keep creeping up. Most people at our age, 30 and 40, are going to have children of some age. He decided to spend time with now 2 of them were, she said were young adults, which means one of them was not. One of them was a minor. And he put those children above her by spending the quarantine with them. When in reverse, I would gather that any man and woman who knew of a woman that chose to put their man above their children, we would look down upon them. We would not respect that woman. But he is supposed to flip that. He's supposed to forego his children to quarantine with her. And that's why she broke off the engagement. That's problematic. That's extremely. And so obviously it's recent, because the pandemic was just the last few years. This is recent. This isn't some long time ago when I was young. This is my big old age. I'm breaking up with people because I didn't get my time. I didn't get my time. You gave my time to the kids. And now that's fair. That's fair. If you choose to say that this person should spend more time with you than their kids, you can say that, but you have to live with the outcomes of that, which are probably going to be, most of us are going to deal with partners that have kids. You're going to have to deal with that. My older cousin owns a coach bus. He and his wife are living their best life. That's what's up. I mean, healthy people were dying. I wouldn't fault any parent for prioritizing. Most normal people, most rational people would not. But if you're an extremely selfish individual that's only worried about yourself, you're going to say, no, you've got to make it all about me. You've got to be willing to not know what the health of your kids, what's going to happen to your kids during this pandemic. That's the kind of person you want. Somebody so dedicated to you and what you want. What's up, Chef Shapino? Peace, love, and light to my guys. What's up? What's up, Chef? What's up, Chef? What now, 23G? Being responsible for hundreds of people's safety per day while taking them from point A to point B is a respectable profession. It should be. It should be. It should be. Now, again, I know most of the people I know that are like bus drivers or working class would not feel comfortable orbiting Ebony K Williams' world, being around all that. It would be uncomfortable for most people. But other than her, the people that are listening to her and doing all the high-fiving and yes, girl, don't settle. Them? Oh, a bus driver would suit you just fine. What up, Apex?
Because and especially if we're talking about the characteristics, because what now 23 basically described the protector. So you got somebody who consistently working, who providing. You got somebody who can maintain safety on his bus and make sure his people on his bus get to where they got to go every day. That's protecting. What else do you want? You want the presentation. That's the other P. See, I know you like to put them letters together. And they saying that other P. Presentation. I want you got to present a certain type of way. So you got to be able to provide, protect, and present like you got some money. Make me look good. I need to be able to say your name and I look good wherever. Well, look. You might just ain't got it like that. Because it's crazy how she would even it's crazy how she would even say that and she your mama.
Yeah.
Because I know she ain't finna sacrifice the time with her son for him. You don't put your kid over no man and blah blah. Man, look.
That's the crazy part. But I'm about to pull out the hypocrisy just on her, just so we understand that we should not take her perspective as God. No woman out there should take her perspective as gospel, because I'm gonna poke holes in it again. Yellow, yes, I'm poking holes. But Chef, I do have a Miles Monroe. Miles Monroe is going to clean this up. Miles Monroe, what I have, the clips I have of him is going to be how we should be choosing. So that's what we should be looking for. That's what's going to be Miles at the end. And Beloved, I'm assuming you're talking about Iyanla Vanzant, who I don't believe is the dearly departed. I say you said the late. I don't think I'm assuming that's what you mean by Beloved, but we played Iyanla already. And we're going to go back to that later at 6 p.m. Eastern time. But Miles is going to clean all this up. And you missed Iyanla. But I want to go to the next clip. This guy, Medium Man, he pulled up a clip of her speaking on another podcast. So I want to add that to the stream real quick.
Women who are more agreeable. We already know these things, right, guys? So if they're making decisions to say, I don't want to date a bus driver, don't argue with them. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I don't spend the time to argue with a woman about where she stands in regard.
My bad. When I saw Beloved, I immediately assumed Iyanla, because of course she dropped Beloved during the clip. I'm not sure why this is having trouble. I don't understand why these clips are not playing so clean. StreamYard is sucking lately. I'm really sick of StreamYard.
Regards to the dating market, if she thinks that she can wait it out and find a guy that she wants, let her do that. But in the meantime, she's going to be useful to the group on the dating market. And that's where I tell guys to use these women for what they want.
I'm gonna try to pull this up a different way. Give me a second.
Because it's less likely that she's going to find what she wants at this age. Ebony K Williams is a beautiful woman, but she waited too long.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to remove that. Entire screen. All right, cool. Are you hearing audio?
No. Did you click share audio when you shared the screen? Make sure you
let me try it again. My bad, everybody. Check if your Chrome Task Manager is running hot. I'm sure it is. Sure it is. Yep. Let's see. Is there anything that could be dropped off? No, CPU's fine. The memory is about 80%, but the CPU's fine. I don't see anything I can stop. Give me a second. Let's try presenting this again. Share screen. Entire screen. Bam. Share system audio. Bam. There we go. Don't know how I missed that. All right. Let's try that again. All right.
You are competing with younger women who are more agreeable. We already know these things, right, guys? So if they're making decisions to say, I don't want to date a bus driver, don't argue with them. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I don't spend the time to argue with a woman about where she stands in regards to the dating market. If she thinks that she can wait it out and find a guy that she wants, let her do that. But in the meantime,
still
she's
no audio
to the group on the dating market.
Wow. Okay.
I can hear it.
So Bree, okay, so y'all can hear it, but you're in StreamYard with me. Can anybody else hear it? Or is Bree bugging?
She might, I don't know, she might be behind. I can hear it though. I mean, if I can hear it.
She could be behind. Everybody else can hear it? Okay, everybody can hear it. Bree, you gotta refresh.
Yeah.
Refresh, Bree. I'm gonna keep going.
And that's where I tell guys to use these women for what they want, because it's less likely that she's gonna find what she wants at this age. Ebony K Williams is a beautiful woman, but she waited too long. And I've discussed her in previous videos where she said that she was married in the past. She was a horrible wife. She decided to focus on her career. That's what she's doing now.
Think that sometimes y'all may be choosing your careers over, your personal lives?
It's not a maybe. I know I have. I will own it. For many years, all I was taught, and not to blame my mother, but she was a single mom growing up. She did the absolute best she could. God, thank you, Gloria. But what she said was books. No, I wasn't allowed to date. I was barely allowed to go to prom. I wasn't allowed to really have a boyfriend through any of it. I graduated from law school, started practicing. Boop, boop, boop. Next thing you know, you wake up and you're 30. And nobody has told you along the way, particularly as like well-educated Black women, that at some point you have to carve out the time to create the partnership and the family.
Tried to shoot a shot. No dude was like,
well, I'm divorced. So, I mean, I guess you could say that. But you know what? To Charlamagne's point, one of the many reasons my first marriage didn't work is because I was a terrible wife, because I was not about to prioritize him. Like, what?
A lot of women would never
admit that. Because of therapy.
Who's this guy?
Shout out to therapy.
She's divorced because she would not prioritize her husband. Then she has a fiance who she leaves because he prioritized his children. She wants him to prioritize her, but she wouldn't prioritize him. I mean, her husband. And she obviously didn't prioritize the fiance because of prioritizing him would have meant, I understand, that he's going to spend the pandemic with his children, one of which is a minor. So she hasn't learned. She hasn't learned anything through the therapy. Shout out to, I think it was Bree, or it might have been Apex yesterday, who said being aware of a problem does not mean that you're going to change it. Because therapy might have made her realize that she didn't prioritize her man or whatever it was, but she obviously didn't learn anything from it. Not enough to change. Not enough to do anything different. Well, hell,
that's why it's weird. I was gonna say that's why it's weird. These be like fetishizing like therapy, and it's like, because clearly that interview was before the pandemic. right?
Yep.
So like you said, you turned around and still didn't make him a priority. But here's the thing. Peep how she blamed all of her upbringing. Because you know, when you were kids, you this, that, and the other, and you this, that, and the other, but you managed to get a husband.
Yeah.
So my thing is this. At some point, you probably changed what you was doing. Because you did enough to get a man to marry you. So you changed your priority again. And now I want everybody to see that all this, oh yeah, getting therapy, this shit don't work. Well, everybody talking about they ain't trying to give men no therapy or work with men. All therapy is for females is honestly confirmation. It's not even work. It's more or less confirmation. That's why it's vague answers. Then it's rarely you hear them telling you they wrong. You don't even see therapists work like that. So yeah, because if they don't get the therapist that confirms all of their biases to why they're experiencing trauma, they don't deal with them. They'll leave a therapist. It's funny, men can't keep a therapist, and women will leave them left and right if they don't say the things that they want them to say. If they're not saying the good shit that they want them to say and making them feel good and confirming all of the reasons why they think the way they think they are, then they go ahead and dip out.
Tip on out. Again, I do not want to say that women should date out of their economic or social class. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think we need to be honest. The people listening and talking about not settling for a bus driver. And a lot of them are just women bus drivers. Working class women are out here talking like her. And that's the problem that I have with some of these clips. The dissemination of information and ideology is problematic. And she doesn't sound like she went to therapy, to be honest. I think she went to a life coach. That's possible. That is completely possible. I have seen people try to claim therapeutic activities as therapy. I've seen lots of strange things from people. This is useful, though, because we can see that even people who we hold up as examples or whatever our ideology is, they have flaws and they struggle to obtain the very same things that we do. Beauty, status, wealth, none of that gets you what you want automatically. But it loses utility with the average person when we try to see ourselves in the same strata of society that these celebrities are in and try to look down at regular folks because we're regular, we're mid, we're mediocre, we're everyday people, and that's what we need to pull from. She doesn't get on a bus to go to work, but a lot of you probably do. So we're talking about different circles that we're swimming in. But I do want to get into real talk with Yanni. So I want to bring in her perspective. Let me read this last comment and we're going to pull her in. And I'm speeding her content up because she spoke for about 30 minutes. So I'm speeding that up to cut down on some time. So if you have a hard time listening to people sped up, you might need to come back. Being a bus driver is honest work. I don't see the problem with someone driving a bus. Absolutely. It's absolutely honest work. Again and again, the lady speaking is like more of a socialite. She's a, high status, high visibility person. Somebody that's a bus driver may not feel comfortable swimming in her circles, going to some of the functions she goes to. Maybe it may be more of a reach. I'm willing to admit that. But the regular people who are high-fiving her, talking about not settle, never settle, all them, nah. You need to deal with who's in your circle, who's on your level. Cut that out. Facts, Fawn. Anyone who is struggling with mental health, therapy can be helpful. Therapy can be helpful. It absolutely can. But boy, I'm going to pull this in. Let's listen to real talk. Let me try to skip past her intro. Let me see. I didn't mark down where her intro is. Let me just let it play.
So I wanted to do this video. Good afternoon, everyone. This is going to be a podcast style. I wanted to hop on here and talk about this because I can't believe this is the Monday morning that we decided to have on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. But the conversation today is going to be about Iyanla encouraging Ebony K Williams to marry a bus driver. Now, I don't know much about Ebony K. I'm
She's
just
on
now
our
learning
camera, so I'm
about
gonna go ahead
her.
and keep her in the background.
She is an American lawyer and television host. She's a co-host. She co-hosts the late night talk show State of the Culture on Revolt TV. She co-hosted a talk show on WABC Radio in New York City and was a co-host of Fox News in 2017. She was the show's specialist. She was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. She grew up in Louisiana. She's African American. I'm not sure. Is she biracial? Is she not biracial? I tried to find information on her ethnicity, her parents, and I couldn't really find much. They just keep saying that she's African American. So I just wanted to give you a quick little rundown about who Ebony K Williams is, because I don't know much about her. I'm learning more about her through this viral topic. So let's get into today's video lunch break conversation. But first, let me get into my intro. Okay, so the conversation that the Black community wants to have on a Monday is about.
Doesn't matter what day.
I can't believe this happened, but I told y'all. I've been telling you. It's no shade to the older generation of Black women, but they all have that mindset where they are coming from a place of oppression, scarcity, and they project that onto us because they have been conditioned in that way.
Now that's. What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, hell no. Go ahead. Nope.
Now, scarcity mindset is a real thing. Scarcity mindset is a real problem. Now, again, Brother Vaughn, that's what I said. She doesn't really talk fast. I sped this conversation up because it's 30 minutes and I put it on 1.5 speed. So she actually does not talk that fast. That's why I said, if you have trouble hearing sped up conversations, it's I want to get through this, but she says a lot in here that I want to. There were quite a few things, and I did not take the time to go through all 30 minutes to like point by point to skip ahead. But there's a lot in here, and that's the first one. That's the first one right there. She wants to pin it on the older generation and scarcity mindset. Scarcity is a real thing, though. At some level, resources are finite. There is not an infinite pool of people of every demographic. There's not an infinite pool of rich people. There's not an infinite pool of middle-class people. There's not an infinite pool of poor people. Everything does have a limit. And understanding the numbers, like Ebony K Williams, she conceded in the clip, like we do need to understand where we are as far as numbers. There are actual limits. Scarcity mindset means you always feel like there's scarcity. No matter what situation you're in, even when you're not in a scarce place, you feel like everything's scarce. You hoard even when you don't have a need to. Now, being practical is when there is a limit, when there is a limited amount of resources, adjusting your expectations based on the limitations. That's not scarcity mindset. That's being practical. That's being practical. So that's why I wanted to dispute what she said right there. Because again, everything can't be thrown in these little cute little saying piles. Everything's not scarcity mindset. Sometimes there really is a fewer number. She'll also talk about the women advancing, women in education. Okay, eventually at some point, there are going to be fewer men that are available in certain economic and social strata. That's just a fact. Go ahead, yo.
No, because it's like shit is scarce. That's why the rat race is what it is. It's not unlimited resources, like you said, but I knew this was when they go left in our first sentence talking about because she hesitated trying to find a word, talking about Ayala trying to encourage her to date a bus driver. She just asked her, would she date a bus driver? She didn't say you should. They having the conversation. So on top, you already approaching this topic going left. Because even we smart enough not to know not to encourage her to date no bus driver because it wouldn't work. But let's go ahead and watch her miss the whole point. Let's go ahead and watch her miss. I'm ready for this. Let's go and watch her miss the whole point.
This happened, and I'm just gonna go ahead and play this video, and then I'll be back for my commentary because I'm just shocked. I'm not shocked, but I am shocked because when we speak about Ayala, because I've been pronouncing her name wrong, Ayala, I never can tell if she's like Manny or not. Like sometimes I get those Manny vibes from her, but then sometimes I'm like, no.
Mammy.
She means well, you know, and I'm trying to.
Now again, so now we're going into the shame, because now we're name calling. I don't know if she's a mammy or not.
Be respectful of my elders, but this drew the line that I was trying to see in her. And she has that mammy seasoning. She got that mammy sauce. I do like a lot of the stuff that she talks about, though. Like when we talk about mental health, when we talk about just emotional intelligence and trauma, and I love that, right? But when she decides to speak on, you know, dating Black women, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I hate this for her because now I can't unsee the fact that she's giving me mammy vibes. She's giving me Crimson Cure 101, 2.5, 2.0, and I just can't unsee it anymore. And I hate that because I really like her. I still like her. It's just sometimes you're just gonna have to side eye her and be like, this is unacceptable. So let's continue with this video.
Facts, Chef.
Would you date a bus driver?
Hold on, real quick, because she keeps serving up shit. The thing, and that's why I say they glorify this therapy shit. And this self-help shit and this self-love shit. Cause she buy into everything that Ayana say when it comes to self-development and growth and all this, but oh my God, she's a mammy when it comes to talking about dating. So she's 100% right on this, but she can't be right on that because you want to know why? She's saying the things that you don't agree with.
Yep.
Now she's saying the things that you don't agree with.
It's like when everybody's a narcissist or gaslighting if you don't agree. Like you're gaslighting me. Like, no, I just don't agree with you.
Right.
And we got to be able to be okay with that. Now, real talk with Yanni. Yanni has a bias. It's cool. It's not as bad as a bias as some people, like a Melanie King, who is extremely biased towards the men, or some of those people who are extremely biased towards the women, like maybe the six to God. Is like everybody has their lanes. Everybody has their lanes, and it's on the spectrum of bias. And real talk with Yanni, she's actually pretty cool. But on this one, I do feel like there's an inherent anti-male sentiment that is creeping into the culture. And I want to say creepy. It's present. It's present. And you hear it because, again, she's a mammy. As soon as she says anything that is possibly beneficial to men, it immediately became a problem. And she's a mammy. All the other stuff, like you said, I agree with all the other stuff, all the self-help, all the stuff that can develop the self. But if you dare say anything that might be an advantage towards men, you're a mammy. And that kind of bias, man, that it's a problem. It's problem thinking.
Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns
No.
it. If he owns the bus,
That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in the society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus.
Okay, now she said
Now, real quick, man, again, the money should be separate from the man. That's what Ayana did. The money and the man are separate. My money would be managed a specific way because of our economic status, but the man is independent of that. I would look for a man of a certain type. My money would be managed because it's my money to manage. If he doesn't have the money on my level, we're going to have a prenup. Fine. That's fine. That's prudent. But I'm not going to base my choice of man based on his money, which is what a lot of people have made the mistake of conflating. Just again, to go back to the scorecard, as far as bus drivers versus bus owners, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 250,000 bus drivers, male bus drivers, to about 100 male bus owners. That's about the available pool. And I got my numbers as far as male bus drivers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, by the way. So she's a mammy because she disagreed with her. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she cannot see it.
She would date a bus driver. That's what she wants. But she's trying to project.
And see, she didn't say she wanted a bus driver. Immediately, she goes back into that thing. She didn't say she wanted a bus driver. This is where we start assuming. We start assuming and we start putting words in people's mouths. That's harmful rhetoric. Now she's putting words. I don't think Ayana's ever married a bus driver. She didn't say she wanted a bus driver. She just said she'd be willing to consider a bus driver because there's nothing inherently wrong with driving a bus. There's no shame in being a person who drives a bus. People in the chat have said it all day long. There's no shame in that. Now, again, for Ebony K Williams, person's got to be able to swing in her circles. I'm cool with that. But for all the people that be in these comments, which I think Yanni's getting ready to pull up, it don't make sense for the average person to be shaming a bus driver. That doesn't make any sense at all. Before I hit play, were you about to say something, man?
No, I'm just ready for all these weird. No, I did shake my head. No, I was gonna say that I'm just ready for all these buzzwords because she immediately finna go into. She, like you said, she immediately approaching it the wrong way, talking about she projecting. How is she projecting? They having a conversation. They're having an agreed. They checked the ball before the conversation. They're having a conversation. So it's like, how is she projecting on her that she? And that's what you're saying. Like, she not hearing Ayala say the character. Ayala didn't mention the dollar one time. The thing is that she upset about hearing her say that she would date a bus driver because she's only thinking about how much money he gonna make. She's on. That's the only thing she done passed up all the characteristics, all the personable characteristics, the personality traits. That's
yeah, man. Summer says she has one brother who's a bus driver. The other deals drugs. One makes a lot more money. He's not the one she wants. That's almost like a nice little luxury ride. One of my brothers drives a bus. The other deals drugs. One makes a lot more money. He's not the one she wants. I like that. Summer. I don't know if it's because you're from the UK, you automatically speak a nursery rhyme. That's cool. I love it. I love it.
She would date a bus driver. That's what she wants. But she's trying to project that same want onto Ebony. And I think that's unfair. When it comes to these conversations where we say no comment, because we already know how it's going to go. We already know what direction it's heading into. We already know. I just want us to get to a point where we say no comment. No comment, no comment, no comment. Because I don't know, it's just something about the Black community. It's truly obsessed with individuals. And I have to say individuals proving themselves worthy of a better life or better treatment, more money, a healthier life, a good man. Like even the kids. Oh, let's talk about it. The Black community is deeply rooted in scarcity. And this is why I told you I had to separate myself.
Now this is where she's actually accurate about scarcity mindset. A lot of us feel like and push on each other, people having to prove themselves for things where they don't, and also never feeling worthy of nice things. There is a lot of that, I would say, in the Black community. But that's not everything. Not every conversation where there's somebody's trying to talk about status or class. Not everything comes from scarcity mindset. Sometimes these conversations are actually prudent conversations to have. Talking about what you can afford, how much time you can give to something. Those are actually relevant conversations to have. Not everything scarcity mindset. Not every conversation about race is racism. Not every conversation about what's available is scarcity mindset. So I mean, I would try to reframe her thinking. I'm not sure why. Maybe she got stuck in her algorithm. That's quite possible.
So
no comment, said the lady.
Look, I'm finished the comment.
No comment, said the lady who said she was getting mammy vibes from another woman. Yeah. And again, I saw somebody else do this recently. They're talking about say no comment and stuff, but then I'm going to do an entire live stream about something. People shouldn't talk about this, but I'm having an entire live stream about it. No, have the conversation and don't tell people to not talk about it when you're talking about it. That's what Reeza's saying. Like, if you're talking about it, why are you telling people to not talk about it? But go ahead, yo.
No, because you were saying that her example of scarcity mindset was people thinking that they aren't worthy of getting that or aren't worthy of having nice things. That's the example you was using?
That's probably close enough, yeah. What's up?
Okay. So how do you think the bus driver would feel hearing that he don't deserve a woman, don't deserve to have a respectable woman or a decent woman because he a bus driver? That's not creating the scarcity mindset that you're talking about. But sitting up here trying to emphasize how bad a bus driver is. Like, I'd be wondering how people think, like, this don't even land on how this doesn't even land on people, how this could even affect the folks they're talking about. Because essentially all you talking about is men with jobs. Like, you'd much rather not have a man with a job.
Hey, real quick, man, got a cash app from the twin. Got a cash app from the 10. Thank you for dropping this on your boy, because you know who I am. You know how I be.
Amazing.
I'm all messed up. I hit the wrong thing twice.
I don't care what your Alpha Male podcast folks told you.
That certainly is one big self-assured ninja.
Well, Offshore is a dime.
I'm looking for a dime. That's top of the line.
Thank you for dropping a dime on your twin. Appreciate it, because no comment is scarce, Summer. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And Bree, yes, you are right. We are taking her comment out of context. She meant no comment as in not engaging the conversation. Absolutely. But if you don't want people to engage the conversation, how about not engaging the conversation? That's one of the things. So if you're telling somebody not to engage in a conversation that might not advantage you, how about not starting a live stream to engage in a conversation that doesn't advantage you?
Right.
It still works. What if he turned it into a party bus for date night? Does that count? No, that's creativity, but that's not what they want. They don't want you to be creative. They want you to have that create them streams of income. If you want to be creative, create multiple streams of income. Have 13 streams of income. Have a stream of income for every seat on that bus. That's what they're talking about.
Right.
You shouldn't tell anyone anything if you are going to comment yourself, and she is literally a hypocrite for saying it. Do what she says, not as she does. And hello, Hanifa. Good to see you. I'm about to hit play.
Black people, I love the Black community. But this scarcity that they try to force onto you is just extreme. Even when you are 18 years old, they want you to struggle. Why? Because they want you to prove yourself. Like, are you truly worthy of my assistance? Even your own parents do it. Are you worthy of my assistance? Are you worthy of staying under my roof past 18? Are you worthy of that? You must prove to me that you are. It doesn't just start with this conversation with men and women. Even when you are 18 years old, you're pushed out of the house because you're legally an adult. And the only way that you can stay in that house is if you prove yourself. So the Black community is obsessed with you being put in a worse position. And then if you come out of that position, then at that point in time, you are worthy. You are deserving. So it's not even just this conversation with women, Black women. It's
yes, that's Real Talk with Yanni. Yanni from Real Talk with Yanni. That's her. And Bree, you ain't got to listen. If you have a perspective, you're more than welcome. You have admin. You can just pop in, say what you got to say. You can dip up off if you want to. Or you can say it from the chat. You do not have to remain silent. This is not the church. Women do not have to remain silent in the church, for this is good in the Lord. I mean, it's none of that. Yeah, look, if I'm a bus driver or even a trash collector, and I see a woman that thinks my income is beneath her, I'm pleased her ignorance of my income will stop her from trying to go dig my ass. Okay.
Right.
He said no comment. Oh, see. I see what you did there.
Men that are in the comments hooping and hollering like, yeah, she should date a bus driver. She should date a bus driver. It's sickening, because this is why the Black community cannot move forward. We are obsessed with seeing people in a worse position and then waiting for their downfall in hopes that they don't come out of that position. It's crab in the bucket mentality. So it's not shocking that she's sitting up here saying, I would date a bus driver. Well, good for you. I think that's great that you would date a bus driver. But if I worked my ass off to put myself in a better position, right? And I'm only looking for a man that has done the same. Like, I'm in a better position. All I'm asking is for a man to match that. That's all she wants. She just wants a man to match that. So it's weird to me. Then they want to hunger you and say things.
Now, this is where I'm going to call a little bit of cap. Because what we use selective criteria. We don't do one-to-one comparisons. So she said, I've worked myself into a better position. That's relative. Better than what? Most people have worked themselves into a better position from at some point in their life. But Ebony K Williams is an employee. So is the bus driver. Ebony K Williams does not own a media company, but neither does the bus driver. They're both employees. Somebody is signing both of the checks. She was just let go because the place she used to work for folded. Some kind of black channel. I can't remember what it was. It was a black news channel or black news network. They folded. She left there and now she's somewhere else because she's an employee. The same way the bus guy, if his company folds, he's going to find a new bus driving gig. So you worked yourself up to a status. So let's say we're talking about then money. Now Yanni is talking about money. Oh, you've worked yourself up to another level of dollar figures, income. That's what she's talking about. Because as far as status, they're both employees. They're both paid labor. So I mean, we gotta if we're gonna do that, let's not be so selective. So much of the conversation around these types of situations are not rooted in reality, right? If that's the same position, they better have started the same place. They're both doing the job at somebody else's behest for other people, to serve other people. They're both in a similar position. You want to say something, Yellow? Oh.
I know. She can go ahead and keep being wrong.
Let's go.
It's like, they cheat. So do broke men. Broke men cheat too. Broke men cheat. I mean, we could even say broke men cheat more than men who have money. How do we?
Now,
poverty
does not grant you piety. Poverty does not grant you piety, folks. Stop that. Listen, if you live a certain lifestyle on your own with your income, why would that change because you're with someone that makes less? Unless he expects you to cover all the bills. Exactly. Because it's a mindset.
And I don't even get why they even talk about putting themselves in a better position. It's not going to benefit the man you with. He not finna be able to benefit from you having whatever financial status you have. He not finna be able to lean on that. And it's not he got to match me. No, he's got to exceed you exponentially. Exceed what you put out for you to feel comfortable. So it's still, I get the not wanting to deal with it on the far low spectrum. But then the thing is they don't even want somebody where they at. They want somebody to exceed them. And that's where it become problematic for them.
Yep, buddy.
No, we don't. But broke men cheat too. So it's weird. She's not asking for a millionaire. She's just asking for somebody to match her. And y'all over here trying to make it seem like she a gold digger. No, we know who the gold diggers are. We know who the gold diggers are. Look at Tyrese and his wife. And you know who created that woman? Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels created that woman. Kevin Samuels created Tyrese's ex-wife. You know, the one that's taking him to court and he's being court ordered to pay $600,000 in child support. Yeah, Kevin Samuels created that woman. You know, the man that y'all call Godfather, he created that woman. That's why she's over there making red pill content. She has a whole YouTube channel.
Who ex-wife?
Tyrese Gibson. Nice. Why is Yanni taking Ebony's comments like they are her own? Ebony has her preference, and it's not what it is. I don't see the issue with the backlash. And like I said, I'll stand up for Ebony K. Everybody has a right to their preference. But I'm just saying, general principles, it should be rooted in reality. We've talked about the numbers. There are about 250,000 male bus drivers. Roughly, there's about 250,000 male bus drivers and less than 200 male bus driver owners, like bus company owners. There's less than 200 in the United States. So what pool do you want to pull from? Do you really want to compete? And again, that 200, I could not sample out for men versus women. So it's just, there's less than 200 owners of bus companies. There's less than 200. I don't know how many are women. I don't know how many are family businesses. But as far as male ownership of a bus company, it's got to be less than 200. Got to be less. So which pool do you want to pull? Do you want to have 250,000 available? Or do you want to have 200? So the numbers are what the numbers are. And we got to really address that. We got to live in a reality. Like Chef saying, there's only so many people in the workforce that are self-employed. 16.2 million people. How many of those are men? How many of those are men who have a self-employment business where they are solvent, like where they can cover all of their bills, all of their expenses are covered by that that self-employment. They don't have another full-time job going on. So we really got to think about stuff beyond what it sounds like in a catchphrase.
You should check it out. A lot of her talking points are very similar to Kevin Samuels. Is it shocking that she's taking him to court for $600,000? No, it's not. It's not. It's not shocking. You should go check out her YouTube channel. So we know who out here being the gold diggers. This woman over here, she has put herself in a better position. She's a lawyer. Why would a lawyer date a bus driver? Make it make sense. Why would a lawyer date a bus driver? We're not about to sit here and try to make it seem like back in the day, it used to be this thing where if you were to date and you were to court, you had to court and you had to date within your class.
Now let me ask you a question, Yellow. Where do you know Ebony K Williams from?
This?
Okay. You know her from television?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say, because I might have heard of her before this. But, yeah, TV.
Okay. Yeah, it's TV. Like, so citing her being a lawyer is irrelevant. I mean, that's just more misdirection. She's saying, hey, she's a lawyer. She shouldn't settle for a bus driver. She's not operating in the capacity of a lawyer. She's operating as a television personality. Neither of which makes you like unqualified to date anybody of any profession. Like, so automatically built into what she's saying is certain jobs make you automatically better than people who perform other jobs. She's automatically putting a class distinction in there based on job type. She's not even operating as a lawyer. So why would you even bring that in there? So again, what was there, like what Hanifa said, you got to listen to what's not being said. So if you're a lawyer, there are certain people that you just can't date simply because of their profession. She's building that in there. And this woman's not even operating. I knew her from the Black News Channel, not as a lawyer. Not as a lawyer. So automatically, anybody that just adopts what they're saying is going to adopt the assumptions that come with this ideology, which is where the problem comes in, which is the only reason I'm pointing it out. Because I saw so many people high-fiving over this. I'm like, no, this is problematic thinking. Now, again, I gave credit where credit was due. Somebody that's a socialite. It's going to be harder for you to find a bus driver that is comfortable in those kind of social circles.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. He might even have problems compete like with your income. He might even have insecurities around your income. That's fair. But don't assume that he's not a man or a woman because they don't have the job that you have. It's somehow less than. That's where I might have the problem at.
It made sense, right? You want to match that person's lifestyle. So classism became this thing where you would date in your class. You would date in the class that you were either born into, or you would date in the class that you leveled up into. But that was a bare minimum requirement. Why is this so? Why I don't understand why this is so hard for the Black community to understand. How else will the Black community improve if we're going to keep dating below what we worked our way up to? It's just we're basically dating backwards. We're dating in a way that does not benefit the community. We're dating in a way that doesn't even make sense.
Now, here's where it gets more nefarious. Because now she's saying it doesn't behoove people to date down. Well, if you're looking for somebody who is an owner, a CEO, if you're looking for a boss, well, now he's dating down. Eventually, you have to come to the understanding that one partner is not going to be 100% equal with the other partner in economics, in education, in emotional understanding and intelligence and articulation. You're never going to be 100% matched. Equally yoked is just a kind of an understanding that we're similar. We're on similar ground. Not the same, similar. Somebody's going to be above somebody in something. Now, if we're going to solely do it on economics, if you're looking for a man that makes as much or better, why are you willing to date a man who makes more than you? Because now he's dating down. And you're dragging down the Black community too. Because now he's got to spread his resources to cover your deficiencies. Because you're not working hard enough to make what he's making. Why is it always okay to shame and to blame one-sidedly? We've got to stop that. But Rashawn, this way of thinking also shows up in our beauty politics. Sometimes it's hard for us to see our programming. It runs deep. Absolutely. That's why we got to call it out when we see it. If you see something, Hanifa, we got to say something. It's part of the culture. We're breeding people like this. And when people get on platforms and start speaking it and nobody challenges it because everybody kind of believes it, then it gets, it reinforces itself. It reinforces itself. It starts becoming hashtags. It starts becoming quotables. People start doing TikToks. Repeat, girl, and you know, you got the side by side. You got Yanni over here saying this, and you got somebody over here with that stupid face while somebody else is saying something that they think is important. We have to start calling this stuff out, pointing out the flaws in it, so that eventually somebody doesn't fall susceptible, or we just think a little differently. Even if we still think that the ultimate outcome is right, that somebody that's a lawyer and a socialite and a media personality doesn't date a bus driver, if you still fall on the lane like, oh, that's not okay, they shouldn't do it, cool. But let's actually think about why people are saying what they're saying about it. Because not all of it's kosher. Not all of it's kosher. Go ahead, Yellow, jump in real quick.
No, I was going to say you was right on point with the one-sided kind of conversation. As because in these type of spaces, especially especially in these type of spaces where we're listening to, it's curated like that. It's curated to where anybody that has a disagreement is automatically shot down, automatically shunned away. Ain't nobody really trying to hear shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of keep mine open for discourse if we gonna talk. But the thing that really bothers me, and this is what bothers me about I'm just gonna say it. This is what bothers me about the single Black woman right now. That whole, we not even dating to better the community. What?
Facts.
Like, this is what I was talking about yesterday. Carrying black trauma into a relationship is not that's not nothing to dump on nobody. Because you feel obligated to have a certain performance as a Black woman does not mean that a Black man got to supplement your deficiencies in being successful or accomplishing what you want to accomplish, or giving you that status that you feel like you can't get or you deserve to have. That's why when she was talking about divinity and straightening up her crown and all that other, I already hear that, and it's like we got not only a financial burden, we not only have a financial burden to try to move, but we also have this racial, I don't even know how to put it. We got this it's like this racial traumatic backpack that we got to move, right?
Heck yeah, man.
So check it out. Like, it was crazy to hear that though, because I can't. That man, who?
Yeah, because she made it. She added even more complexity to an already problem like gender dynamic. People are already having problems pairing off because of all our fears and anxieties and this and that and the other. Now all of a sudden you're now responsible to better the Black race with your decision. Like, come on. Who out here is really thinking about that? What Black, you know what? I gotta save the race with my choice of a husband or wife. I gotta save the race. It's built into their own model for success that women exclusively date up. And says for every person that dates up, one must date down. They imply patriarchy is an important part of the success. Isn't that crazy? Don't know. Because fat, ugly, disabled, low income, or whatever, people don't deserve love. We have to examine our own thoughts. I know I do all the time. Facts. A high value man is not always a man with high values. He can make all the money in the world, but if he's whooping your ass every day, every Wednesday, all she needs to worry about is love and companionship. It's crazy. I'm just saying. I got you. It's crazy the things that we're hinging relationships on. Because now you got to save the Black race. So you can't be love. It can't just be finance. You also have to save the Black race. He's got to make enough money to save Black people. The abstract. the all-encompassing black people. You got to make enough money to
Right.
save black people. Because why else would you be with somebody if they couldn't save the
That's
entire
what
community?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's that other P, presentation. You want to have the more presentable black man. Because you still want to date a black man.
Yeah.
Me too. Apex. Like, I'm trying to figure out, because all she said was a bus driver. All she asked was if she would date a bus driver. I get why she wouldn't, and like we think why she wouldn't. But it's everybody else that's probably right in line to date a bus driver. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's super crazy.
It don't even make sense. Why would you date below your class when you worked your ass off to get to a higher class? How is the black community supposed to get rich, be richer, right? To create wealth, right? What's this generational wealth talk? What are we talking about if we're going to date down? We're never going to get ahead. And that's why, same thing with these kids. As soon as they turn 18, you set them up to fail.
Now, real quick before, because that thing too, I'm going to read Hanifa's comment, but she also made another fallacy, I'm going to say. This fast-paced society won't allow us to unpack these things because it takes time. This is why I advocate slowing down. Okay, all right. You're going to need my hypothetical drug dealing scummy one. My hypothetical bus driving bro can't afford all black people. Facts. But the other thing she said, though, about black people dating out of class, one thing that would help, honestly, the black community is people who were in an upper class actually reaching down to elevate somebody of a lower class. If everybody only dates the people who are on their level, nobody ever raises up from dating. So dating and mating, if there's not somebody on a higher level that can uplift somebody else, then there's no movement. It's impossible. It's impossible to move up from dating and mating if everybody dates laterally. So it's silly. It's a silly thing to say. You should date laterally. How else are we going to uplift black people through dating and mating? You can't then date and mate laterally. So she's contradicting herself with her own talking point. It's just stupid. At this point, it's just pretty stupid. Exactly. Yeah, Ebony is in a position to not date a bus driver. Right.
And it's crazy because she don't want, basically say it like this. She wouldn't mind men dating below their class. A man could date below his class all the time. Because that's the whole idea about it. She just don't want women to date below their supposed class. Because the problem surrounding this particular content creator and Ebony's problem is that men don't make enough money. These men don't even make more than me. That's what they keep saying. These men don't even make more than me. But then you turn around and say that we shouldn't date outside our class as black people. No, just say as black women, you shouldn't date outside your class. Because you expect the men to date outside their financial class. Because you would expect the man who would probably shoot for Ebony K Williams, who can afford her, to also want to fund a single mother with like 3 kids who stay on the South Side, who hasn't made herself a lawyer, who hasn't worked her way out. That's why they like the story about the chick who get pulled out the hood, the pretty one. I mean, was it Pretty Woman or whatever?
That's one of them. She was a prostitute, but you know.
I mean, cum sa.
I knew it. I knew it. I was gonna be tomato. I knew it. I knew it.
You said, hey, man.
I knew it. 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. What you talking about? This whole thing about money. It's about money. If we negotiating prices, obviously. I know what profession that is.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
What's up, Mrs. She said in the building. Good to see you. Hello, hello. Let me hit play real quick. We got about 20 minutes left on this.
The Black community is never going to get ahead if we keep doing the same cycle. It's the same cycle that's been going on. And then you look around and you're like, oh my God, like we at the bottom. We at the bottom. You got to understand that other women are not encouraged to date down. They're encouraged to date up. That's how the community stays afloat. Come on. This is ridiculous.
And that's what you
and
just
the fact
said.
that we're even having this conversation today is so weird to me. It don't even make sense. So let's continue, because I came across this comment and listen, I'm gonna tell you now, when it comes to these platforms like Spiritual Word, I want to say the Shade Room, I want to say Baller Alert. Listen, if I was if I didn't do this for work, if I did not do this for work, you would not see me support any of these pages. I'm just being real with you, because it's like BET, okay? Baby Boy, rerun. Love and Basketball, rerun. I mean, it's the same repetitive conversations. They want to feed it, force it down your throat. Stop supporting these pages. And the majority are women doing it. The majority of women are supporting these pages. And then they try to tell you how they really feel about you, but then you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But they really don't respect you, though. So let me show you what I'm talking about, because this is why I ended up creating this video. I created this video because there was a girl that DM'd me on Instagram. I'm not sure if she's the one that made this comment. I'm not sure. But Spiritual Word ended up responding. So let me go ahead and read this to you. The community keeps telling you how they feel about you, and you need to really listen, because the very people that run these pages are the very people in the community that try to force culture onto you that may be toxic, dysfunctional, et cetera, et cetera. So this girl, this Black woman, she comments and she said, stop trying to force Black women to lower their standards. Ebony is accomplished, so what's wrong with her wanting someone who's aligned with her career-wise? Question mark. I literally don't see anyone doing this with other races of women. And we don't, and we won't. We won't. And you want to know why? It's because other communities understand the importance of keeping wealth flowing through the community. Other communities understand the importance of that. That's why they have their own grocery stores.
Now that got me too. Because I had the privilege of working with Somali people when I was as a housing coordinator. I had the privilege of living near a lot of Hispanic people. And what I found in their communities is everybody pulls in whatever direction they're trying to go. It's not that the man covers everything. In the traditional model, yes, if the woman were a stay-at-home mother, sure, she didn't contribute financially, but most of the relationships I saw that were Gen X and younger, the men and the women went to work and they all contributed, they all shared, and that's how they ended up with businesses. They all shared and saved. It wasn't that the men did all the work and they built the businesses. They all poured in together to get businesses and cars and houses. There was not just one guy just pulling the entire freight. That wasn't what I saw. And they would also do other things like use as many public services as possible to cut costs. I saw that as well. But that's also something you will not see around these same people who are talking about what other cultures are doing. You won't have the sitting down of your pride to use a public service to cut costs while y'all stack and save, because that's not pretty. Like Yella said. Yella said the other P, other than provision and protection, is presentation. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Now she's being hypocritical. Now she's saying that about these pages. However, she knows full well with or without that page, she'll be following them because she's Black. She has a biased page. It's just biased in the other direction. And that's cool. Like, but just admit that. Don't shame other people. There's a lot of shaming. We know other races don't do this. Shame. There's a lot of shaming. There's a lot of blaming, but you haven't heard anything to say, this is where we're failing. This is what we're doing wrong. You haven't heard that one time. I'm 15 minutes into it. You haven't heard any accountability on the demographics she's talking about. You haven't heard any accountability. This is where we're moving incorrectly. Except they're telling us to lower our standards. Yana just said it too. There is a problem with the standard that's being set. It's not based in reality. That's a delusion. That's not okay. It's not practical. It doesn't make sense. We saw the numbers. 250,000 bus drivers, 250,000 male bus drivers, less than 200 male bus owners. That's the math that a lot of people are buying into. Then what happens is you can only mate with what's in your vicinity, your approximate vicinity. People are, of course, now engaging in long distance, but of course, we know those fail most of the time. Then when you settle for somebody because everybody's lonely and you need somebody because your ideology is leaving you lonely, nobody's going to fit your standard. You settle for somebody that does not have what you have because they were attractive enough or they had just enough to maybe possibly meet your standard. Then you're dissatisfied with them and you treat them as such. We see that too. We see that. This is not researching why women tend to be so delusional. And Hanifa, I honestly do believe that delusion is necessary. But the level of delusion that our culture is like the social media algorithm and the way our delusions are now being reinforced, that's where the problem is. You need some level of delusion to make, well, I ain't gonna go into that. That'll be another stream for another day. Go ahead, Yellow.
I just hope Hanifa computer don't break down. Because that's gonna be a lot of searching the information.
For sure.
I'm gonna wait for the rest of this comment because that's what I want to see what the other person said.
Cool. It's a thin line between imagination and delusion. Yeah, man. And I'm trying to tell you, Mr. He said there's a lot of thin lines that we need to start. We might need to start putting on our glasses so we can see the lines a little better. We need to not put on our spectacles. We might need to get a perspective so that we can see these lines because they seem to be imperceptible. People don't know when they're slipping over. They've crossed over into a new territory. They can't see that boundary.
Here in Houston, I can go shop in the Hispanic community, the Asian community. They all have grocery stores that are owned and ran by the people who look like them.
Real quick. I know you said you want to wait on the rest of this comment. She just stumbled on another fallacy in her argument. They're owned by the people who look like them. You know what I also know when they open these businesses, you know who worked at these businesses? They were the women of the family. They were the kids. They were the cousins. The family did the labor of the stores and the shops. The family was the labor. Maybe some friends. You know what you can't, you know how you can't, if I start a store today or if I start a bus company, you know who's not going to work as on the bus as a driver? You know who's not going to work in the shop? It will be Yanni. It will be Ebony K Williams. They're not going to be, it's not pretty enough. It's not high status enough. There's not enough money to start that business. You don't just start to money making. It starts off at a loss and then you can't wait until the day you get into the black. And then you start making a profit. Nobody's going to sign up. If you're not going to sign up for a bus driver, there's no way you're going to sign up for a non-money making venture like starting a store or a bus company. You don't start off in the black. You start off with losses. And you're already saying you don't want to take any losses. You're already setting, and he's got stability, the stability of an income. So he is never at a loss. You expect a man to go into loss state when you won't even take a steady state? No, get out of here. You're lying. It's a lie because you're not thinking. And that's all. I know Yellow wanted to get the rest of the comment. My bad, man.
So they understand the importance of keeping that money flowing through the community. That's what keeps the community afloat. So we're the only community debating this. It's really ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, ladies, this is why we don't have our own grocery stores. We don't have our own grocery stores. There's not name one grocery store you can go to right now that's ran by African Americans. Name one.
Oh God, I know. My last thing, because I've heard this argument so many times I've heard this argument about black men for so long. I've heard this argument about black men for so long, and it is all the things that black men are deficient because we haven't started. Where are the ones started by black women? Where's the Yanni grocery store? Like if we don't have it, why didn't you make it? Because it's not attractive. Right. It's not attractive. Real groceries with Yanni would be too much work. It's a lot easier to say a lot of stuff on the internet than to actually build. It's a lot easier. I know that because I'm doing it.
One. I just want y'all to name just one. Just one. Just one. We don't even thank you. We don't own nothing, but we want to talk about Black women marrying down. We don't even own any. How are we supposed to get to a point where we own things if we keep marrying down? What sense does that make? We did our part. As a woman, we did our part. We put ourselves in a better position. We did our part.
What?
And now we're required to marry down? Come on.
Yeah,
So
they put themselves in a better position
Y'all
and still don't
did
own
y'all
anything.
part.
Yes,
Bro,
and still
this
don't
shit
own
ain't
anything.
Yeah, bro, I hate the fact that they think they get to a certain point in life and they just gotta offload life responsibilities. We did our part. No, the hell you didn't.
And it's the instant man, OG Patrice. I might have to clip her up. It's the hypocrisy for me. We did our part. We still don't own nothing. We did our part.
Right.
We still don't own nothing.
Right.
We did our part. We still don't own nothing. What was your part? Not owning anything?
No,
you got to a level. You got to a level where you don't own anything. You work to a level where you don't own anything. Congratulations. You played yourself. You played yourself. You worked hard to get nothing. That's what she just said. We worked hard. Women have advanced. We've advanced to own nothing. Congratulations. I hope you're happy. Yeah, they're taking credit for what the grannies and the mamas did. Absolutely. Yes, she's taking credit for all the history, all the Black women that came before, all the people that fought for gains, man, worked twice as hard and came away with zilch. She said, we own nothing. We own nothing.
To be mediocre.
To be mediocre. We worked hard. We went and got our degrees. We're out here. We're getting a bag of nothing because you own nothing. She just said it. You own nothing. The community is not built up. You did nothing with it. It was futile. It was useless.
Spiritual Word decided to respond. And this is when I was like, I'm making a video.
They put some perfume on that.
Spiritual Word said, force. That's the problem with you women. Ooh, let me read it again. That's the problem with you women.
Yeah.
Now, don't that sound similar to how racist white people be like, you people? You people? They be like, you people? Okay, so that's the problem with you women. Black women especially. Y'all have this sense of entitlement and privilege as if you deserve what you say you want in a man. Now I had to go back and I had to pull this up. I said, okay, let me go ahead and switch gears here. Because I'm like, wait a minute, now. I'm like, now, didn't this woman work her ass off to be put in a better position financially? Because I'm like, I had to look into Ebony. I said, wait a minute, what has this
Hold on,
done
pause it. Go back.
in her life?
Now this is no, because that's what.
Credit. I was about to say, give her credit. She worked hard. That she worked hard to be a higher salaried employee.
This is what kills me about these women. They don't listen. They don't listen. One, if the first response was force, like you said, stop trying to force this standard on Black women. They having a conversation. Everybody want to make it is weird how they approach this abuse. Don't that sound like when white people say that you people? No. It sounds like when you Black women sit up and bash Black men on how deficient they are. That's what it sounds like. We're not gonna sit up here and act like one side, like how y'all talk about Black men don't sound as harsh. No, God forbid. Because y'all did y'all part. So yeah, it is this thing, it is this sense of entitlement for just being born a Black woman. That you feel like Black men owe you something because of your existence. No, that's not where we at this point in the game. Not at Ebony K Williams' age. No. That's what she's talking about, her divinity and getting her crown right now. We ain't trying to hear that. Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that. That's why when she talking about, yeah, because when I seen that, I had to make a video. Because you already saying that she trying to encourage her when she's having a conversation on the TV show that this lawyer works on, talking about relationships. This ain't a legal dispute. What up, Realistic Vibes? What's good, Miss Ty? This how they recruit women to the sisterhood. I'm telling you, it's exactly. Because you talking about scarcity mindset. I promise you, all black women do is fear monger. This is basically fear monger. For whatever scarcity mindset she's trying to put on Ayala, the younger generation of black women fear monger to each other. Look at all this shit that she's stacking on just being in a damn relationship with somebody. Better in the black community, generational wealth, bro. Generational wealth, I hate the kids. Just get it, bro. There is no amount of money that you can. There's no amount of money that you can make that would set you for generations, and you just never have to do nothing. Few people reach that status. But there's no set. So it's like people be talking about generational wealth. You don't even know what that is. And generational wealth is not obtainable. It just happens. You can't obtain generational wealth. It happens. Your life have to just fall into a particular way. Can't just if I work hard and keep grinding and manifest it and throw it up to the ancestors and live for my community, I'm gonna make generation of all my kids, and kids is gonna be good off of just my work. No, that's not how it's gonna happen. Because as soon as you die, your kids gonna fuck it up. It's usually how it happens. That's why these big corporations, the whatever the family that own Walmart, they own a percentage. That's why they don't do nothing and live off the money, because they've made that deal with somebody else to work. Like WWE, they decided that deal with Endeavor. You know what I'm saying? They put themselves in that position. You can do all the decisions and planning if them dominoes don't fall the way you want to, your thoughts and dreams and hopes of generational wealth is going to go down the toilet. The best laid plans will fall apart if your goal is to make everything. That's what Rashawn been talking about. If your goal is just to be, if you only going to be satisfied with being number one, or if you only going to be satisfied with a championship like Giannis was talking about, then you don't understand success and how success works. Because the weird thing about Giannis is that he is at a certain level of success. Think about the thousands of people that played with Giannis throughout the years that ain't made it close to where he had made it. They have to be okay with how their life played out too. They can't sit up and look at their life as a failure because they didn't make it to where Giannis is. You got equal move.
Give me a quick second. I was trying to respond to a message. It's not this crazy thing. Let me see. It's truly just passing down valuable assets to the next generation. It's not this crazy thing. The problem is you have to have valuable assets. Yeah, you can't promise it won't be squandered, but you have to have a valuable asset. You also have to know what's going to be valuable, because what's valuable today may not be valuable tomorrow. It can suddenly become worthless. So, I mean, so part of that is passing down knowledge and wisdom, but we don't see that because the information that we disseminate and keep passing on to these bad ideologies. We pass on stuff like Yanni's passing stuff on. Now, on top of all that, because she's talking about saving the black community through hypergamy, you got to save the black community through hypergamy, right? Meanwhile, she's unmarried and doesn't have any children. So at what point is it the same? Like I've said this before, and I can't remember who the quote started from. There is no difference between a man that can't read and a man that won't read. So neither one does any of the productivity. There's no productivity coming from somebody that has such high standards that they won't pair off, they won't start a family. They have the same productivity as somebody that can't. There is no gain to the black community if there's nobody worth their time. It doesn't make any sense. Lost leaders. That's what my uncle and aunties did. They have grandma up before her body was even cool. Sold her house, split the cash, and bye generational wealth. Yeah, I've seen it happen too. You have to study and do better than the ones who didn't have the knowledge. We are in the information age. Facts. But if we're in the information age, you have to know what to do with the information. You have to know what to do with the information. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, Quantum. We can keep saying stuff like this, but that's a platitude. That's a platitude. That's a cliche. We all know we have to have knowledge, and knowledge is power, and applied knowledge is more power. We have a lot of things that we could say. Where's the doing? Because like she said, we've advanced. The women have advanced. We did our thing. We held our part, but she preceded that with we own nothing. So what does it mean if you study and you do better than the ones who didn't have the knowledge and you still own nothing? And you still own nothing. What does it mean then? Because she did all this. She said Ebony K, they did all this. They studied and they did better. But there's still no ownership. So then what? Definition, loss leader. Now, products sold at a loss to attract customers. Yeah, it's all up to the individual setting apply. Yeah. I wish my parents had some money locked away somewhere for my ass, but nah. Yeah, facts. Facts. I'm with you. But bam, let's bring Yanni back.
Yeah, I felt the same.
It says she said entitled.
We could be in the. I was just gonna say we could be in the age of information, but we are not in the age of accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know,
at all.
And there's a bunch of things out here. And that's the thing about it. You can go study all. You can go study all you want to. If you're not prepared to, that's the thing about it. You got to be prepared for everything. That's what we're seeing right now. It's only up. If you don't win the championship, if you don't make it to the NBA and win the championship, your life is a failure. That's a burden that you take into relationships with people. That's a burden that women take into their relationships with people. That if they don't reach this comfort level, their life is a failure, or that they live happy. And I ain't talking about when your life is okay and the bills is paid. Because my thing is what we talking about. Excess. I ain't even gonna talk about abundance, because abundance in the way is a lot of what you need. Excess is a lot of what you don't need. You know what I'm saying? So we talking about excess as comfort. When we don't know what any level of success look like. We ain't got no grocery stores. How we gonna know what a successful black grocery store look like? How we gonna pass down information from a bunch of failures? But not willing to suck up new information from a completely different perspective. That's why I say carrying this race trauma through the whole thing, because we trying to keep this in-house. We keep trying to make this generational wealth happen in-house when it's not going to happen. It's not. I'm sorry. Generational wealth ain't just going to happen on the black dollar. And if you ain't prepared to get out your feelings and work with some people that don't look like you, and stop trying to be black, and stop trying to be rich because you black, and be rich because you want to be rich, and just say I want to be rich instead of comfortable. See, it gets confusing when you start. Rashawn, I want to be rich.
Here you go.
That ain't. You know what I'm saying? That ain't got no kind. He just want a lot of money. Why? Because I want to be rich. Because I want a lot of money. I don't have no racial connotation touch. I don't have no life. It's just something I want. I don't need to be rich. Because I'm everything but my accomplishments. I'm gonna say that again. I'm everything but my accomplishments. I know that about myself in life. I don't give a fuck what I accomplish. I can go to the moon. That's still not who I am. That's just something I did. Not that I went on the bed around.
I'm gonna hit play, but I'm gonna try to find this video that the other guy put up because it was interesting.
Privilege, right? So I'm like, okay, but then I'm like, Ebony K is an American lawyer, television host. She co-hosts the late night talk show, State of Culture on Remote TV. She has a whole resume, a thorough one at that. It's crazy. So I'm like, okay, let me go back. Let me go back. Because I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Listen, black women, when it's you, they gonna move that goalpost every time. That's why when it comes to these conversations, you just need to say no comment. Because when it's you, they gonna move that goalpost every single time. They're gonna move the goalpost for you, sis. For you, sis, they gonna move it every single time. They're gonna move it every single time. So there's no point in you trying to prove anything. Ain't nothing to prove, hon. I'm sorry. When it comes to you, the goalpost is going to be moved. So when it comes to these conversations, you need to get in the habit of saying no comment. No comment. No comment. You never will hear an Indian man who's worked his ass off to put himself in a better position and provided for his family tell his daughter, who's a doctor, to date a taxi driver. You're never going to see that. You're not. Why would an Indian man do that? Was his sacrifices worth anything? No, his sacrifices were worth something. That's why his daughter.
Now, again, she's talking about dating across and marriage across classes. The women she's talking to, and probably even including herself, are not in a upper echelon of class. She's not. She's probably not. I haven't looked up her history. We're talking about a YouTuber. Like, she's probably not a doctor or a lawyer. Like, Ebony K Williams is one thing, but her and the people who she's talking to, like, we're not in that. We're not who we think we are. What did Bree say yesterday? Black women seem to think they have more money than they have.
Mm-hmm.
I think she said something like that. Like, what?
Yeah.
No. Like, cut it out. Cut this out. I'm here to play real quick, man. I'm gonna try to find this other stat because this other dude put up a stat that was kind of interesting. It was blackdemographics.com with a grain. I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt, but it was interesting.
There's a doctor, and she's not being told to date a taxi driver. That's how you create generational wealth. And that's what I be saying.
She also might be getting forced into an arranged marriage too.
Because if you
that I know black women definitely would. You talking about, and not talking about with this whole Indian. I ain't never heard of Indian. One, you ain't never been raised in an Indian household.
Mm-hmm.
Because what if it's a type of Indian household that, like I said, that does arranged marriages. Now you don't find the dude attractive. He got all this money, but you don't find him attractive because remember, he got to be rich and attractive.
Mm-hmm. This was this.
Now
I'm
what?
trying to pull this up.
So that'd be that fuck shit when they get to talking about other races. Why are you worried about other races? You don't hear other races. I don't give a fuck. What they got to do with who you with? What they got to do with your relationship?
This is crap. Pause. I didn't say play. I'm trying to pull this in. This guy, Media Man, had talked about this. We talked about the black business, all this upward mobility, all this growth as far as black business job creation. Now, I'm not a big proponent of blackdemographics.com because I looked into the guy's background and we made fun of it. But I guarantee there's some legitimacy to these stats. He did cite the source as U.S. Census Bureau and Annual Business Survey. But as far as job creation, white-owned employers, you starting a business, you got there, you've made it. White-owned employers, they've created 56.8 million jobs. Let me see. This was from 2017. They can employ 39% of all working-age white adults. Annual revenue is 11.6 trillion, enough to give every working-age white adult $80,000 a year as a salary. Asians, who typically make more than whites, but I don't know about the businesses, create 4.7 million. I know, okay, quantity. This is a quantity thing. There are far fewer Asians than there are white people in America. They create 4.7 million jobs, could employ 38% of their Asian adults. Annual revenue of $814.8 billion, enough to give every working adult $65,000. Hispanics create 2.9 million jobs, could employ 8% of their adult population, with $422 billion in annual revenue, and they could only give $11,700 to every working adult. Now, black people, far below everybody else. Their black businesses are so mature and robust that we could give out a whopping 1.2 million jobs, not even half of what the Hispanics could give. We could employ only 5% of our adult population with a $127 billion revenue, and we could give them a comfortable salary of $4,842 a year. So when we're talking about we've made it and we don't own anything, we've made it. We did our part. What is your part? What did you do? Because we're still, even to her, we don't own anything. Came out of her mouth. We don't own anything. If you don't own anything, you can't create the wealth that's sustainable. We can employ 5% of our adult population from our businesses, and we can only give them $5,000 a year. That's less than Social Security. That's probably less than a food stamp hustle. I probably, if I really tried, man, because I program Fire Sticks sometimes, I probably could make that doing Fire Sticks occasionally. So what are we talking about? I do think you shouldn't date down if it's something you're not accustomed to, and that's fine. That's fine. It's just an imbalance. Because she's talking about women shouldn't date down, but the man should. And that somehow applies to passing on generational wealth. I have a full-size queen bed. You shouldn't have to go to a twin because you love someone. You shouldn't have to. That's the part that we're having a problem with, Yanni. There's no mandate. Nobody's making anybody date down. But the mentality is problematic. Some people, because again, if you have a queen bed, and I have a twin, why couldn't we share your queen bed? Nobody's making you throw out your queen bed. You've made it. You've got a queen bed. We can share queen. But no. Some people just aren't in the scope depending on where you are in life. That's okay. But Trevor probably ain't even going to run across a socialite in reality. Right. And as I said, for Ebony K Williams in specific, it probably wouldn't work for her. Brief facts. Our spaces are divided mostly by class. The internet has changed that some, but even our interests often align with class. Thus our algorithms. What are the industries? And again, this is all black businesses. So it'd be all industries that black people own businesses in, which is a very limited scope, which is one of the reasons that the money is so starkly different. We don't have industries. We don't own industries such as oil. We don't own any industries such as like some of the more lucrative tech stuff. We don't have any ownership there, which is why we can't employ but such a small amount of people, and why we can't offer such a high salary, because our businesses are typically startups. In the black community, we have a lot of starter level businesses, a lot of home-based businesses, a lot of mom and pop businesses that are stretched thin. We don't really have, what we think about as a business, like a corporation, we don't own any corporations. We don't have corporations. We've got a few people that have corporations. But we got a lot of small eyelash industry, a lot of nail tech. Yeah, I got my business. We got a lot of LLCs. We got a lot of people selling jewelry. We got a lot of little independent. We got a lot of businesses, but not a lot of money, because all of our streams of income are trickles. If we're being honest, most of our streams of income, because we're not concentrating on any one thing, we're not developed in any one avenue enough to become proficient and develop a corporation that can employ hundreds of people. We're not on that level. So we'll have 5 to 6 hustles that all bring in $2,000 to $3,000. And it will feel good about it, because we got, well, if I lose the $3,000 or $4,000 over here, well, I still got this other 18,000 from these other 5 to 6 things, and we feel good about ourselves. But that's piecemeal. That's weird. That's jack of all trades, master of none. We need some masters. And that sounded really racially weird. I get that. We need some people who are master the craft. How about that? LLC is not a corp. No, we got to cut that out.
Hey, and this might be some way off shit too. But looking at them numbers, can you bring that back from?
Oh yeah, give me a quick second. My bad.
Because
I dropped the video down.
Yeah, my bad. I kind of.
Now you good?
I kind of want to point something out. It's gonna sound really bad. This is gonna sound really, really bad. Why, after all of these years, do y'all think we gonna put a fucking chunk in this disparity right here? Look at the level we at 1.2 million. They at 56.8. And y'all dating to try to change that? That's your motivation to date?
Yeah.
Is to change that?
Yes,
dude,
man.
You know how many generations of generational wealth it would take to change that?
Absolutely.
I think
the margin of error.
And the margin of error.
It'll be so slim.
Margin of error. Dude, I believe the sun is supposed to go supernova in about 22 million years. I guarantee you we don't cut that gap in half. A quarter of that gap in 22 million years. Some people get so behind they quit.
Remove myself down.
We getting lapped in. Man, look, my thing is at this point we are getting lapped, but we don't even need to start. We just need to finish the race. We just need to run a race. We're never gonna catch up, because that's the problem. We want to catch up. When at this point, I'm looking at it like this. It's not one of y'all unless it's been some specific thing. Most of us aren't not rich due to direct racism or systematic. It's a lot of other reasons at this point why we ain't rich. Ain't no systems to hold you back. If you want to get rich, you can get rich on the things you want to do. You can make money. I'm not saying that it's that easy to go out and get. I'm saying that the barrier of entry ain't like it's no white man at the money place saying that you can't have the money no more. You can make the money. I'm glad we there. I'm glad we're there. Because as much as we don't cooperate, that's impressive. So it's like, man, I'm not finna put the burden of trying to put a dent in this $51.6 million deficit I mean, 60, this 55, what is 55.6 million job deficit. I'm not black woman. I'm not finna carry that burden to make you happy. No man should. No man should carry the burden of trying to put a dent in that deficit so you can be in your divine feminine. That ain't how this shit roll. Go be with one of them.
Real quick, I want to bring up a couple of the charts because Nova's chart bombing me now. I appreciate you, Nova. I did get those two charts. This one, don't know if you guys can see it, but 3% of U.S. businesses were Black or African American owned in 2020. Shares of classifiable U.S. employer firms and revenues in 2020 by race and ethnicity of majority owner percentage. So we were 3% in firms owned, but only 1% in revenue, which also shows a deficiency. As you can see, the white firms, their revenue percentage exceeds their firms owned. So that's like the parable of the talents in the Bible. They made money off of what they did. Everybody else is kind of at a loss. The Asians are less than half. 6 out of 11. That's what I don't know, like 5. Let me see. That's less than probably about like 56%. Somebody had to do the math on that. Hispanics, 3 out of 7. That's a little lower than half. I want to say like somewhere around 41%. But our revenue is only 1%. I'm doing like a ratio. 1% of revenue to 3% of firms. That's like 33%. So we have the least efficient revenue generation per business, we have the least efficient. So even if we're making money, we're not making it at a reasonable clip. Not even like it's ugly to think that we're doing that. And Tristan asked what the firms are. Healthcare and social assistance is the most common sector among Black or African American owned businesses. So let me see. This is from the Pew Research Center. So they kind of broke it down into what sectors that we have these jobs in. Most are healthcare and social assistance, 27.5%. But they're spread out. It's a healthy spread. 13.9 in professional, scientific, and technical services. And utilities, which is really bad. Utilities and manufacturing, like that, where we really should be, it's less than 1%. It's 1.1% for manufacturing, 0.2% in utilities. Hey, we got Mrs. She Said in the building with the Cash App, man. Definitely appreciate you. Let me see. Yella said he'll be right back. Give me a quick second. So we got that down. I'm gonna go ahead and close that out and try to bring Yanni back. Give me a second. Yeah, people do quit. In my history class, my professor said a Black person would have to go to live 4 times. Yes, that's crazy. Yella is being mean. I'm lost on how we are going to catch up without white people. You have to shake hands with others in order to advance. Facts. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Let me bring Yanni back. Let me close these windows. Close all. Bam. Oh, was that? No, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Too many windows, y'all. Too many windows. Let me see. Video file. Nope, it was a tab. It was a tab. Too many windows. Share screen. Dang, did I really close it? There we go. Entire screen. Share system audio. All right, cool. All right, we're back. We are back. All right. Yellow should be back in a second. Free. Didn't Yanni kind of say it about building the Black community up, or and I mishear her? It was a long time ago. Apex, the only people I'll never shake hands with are the amputees. I'll give them a warm smile. However, Nova, you're terrible. That was a good joke, though. That was a good joke.
You wouldn't be telling your community of women to date down, to marry down. What sense does that make? I think about that every day. My parents sacrificed. My parents sacrificed to put me in a better position. If I married down, all of their sacrifices were worth nothing. They weren't worth anything. If I don't marry a man that can put me in the same position that my parents put me in or better, all of that sacrificing was a waste of time.
Now, hear what she said again. If I don't marry a man that can put me in the same position that my parents put me in, did you lose the position that your parents put you in? Like, did you fall off? Did you already mess it up? Like, how would he have to put you in the exact same position that your parents put you in unless you lost that position? That's pretty crazy. And it's again, the reason, the logic, it's not there. It's crazy.
I listened to my parents. They sacrificed a lot. My dad worked 3 jobs at one point just to put me in a 5-bedroom house. Why in the hell would I go out and marry a man that wouldn't be able to do that or better? What was the point of his sacrificing? It was worth nothing. I watched my...
So again, she said, we did our part. What part did you do? If your parents handed you the life and then a man is supposed to hand you the second half of your life, what did you do? Where's your work? Show your work.
My mother work up the corporate ladder. Work. What was the point of her sacrifices? What was the point?
And what's the point? What's the point of your mother and father's sacrifice if you still don't have a family? If the family dynasty, if your dynasty dies off because you don't pair off, everything they did was still for nothing. It was all still for nothing, for absolute nothing.
Well, have just never done it. If I'm just going to go out and marry down. And that's what I'm saying. The Black community don't know nothing about generational wealth, don't know nothing about keeping it, don't know nothing about, okay, if you were to sacrifice, it needs to pay off. What's the point of you doing it then? There is no point. There's no point, because now you're about to put yourself in a worse position, even though your mother, your father fought like hell, dealt with racism, dealt with being, dealt with microaggression, dealt with management and all that. They did all of that for you. And then you turn around and you marry down. And it doesn't just stop there. It don't, because even if I went out here and I got pregnant out of wedlock, they did all of that for what? To put me in a better position for what? I think about stuff like that. It's so much deeper than money, though. Money. That's all the Black community want to care about, but then don't even know how to keep it. Don't even know how to keep it. Don't know how to keep it. So it's just, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. And then Black women have never had the privilege to have entitlement. I'm sorry. We've always had to work.
I know she ain't say that.
We've never.
Yeah, we make it all about money, but that's what she's made it about. This entire thing has been about money.
That's the only reason you don't. Oh my God. What's the only reason you don't want to date a bus driver? It's because they don't make enough money.
Right. So she's the thing she's talking about. All right, y'all, we got the last 10 minutes.
Never even been in a position to have a high level of entitlement. So that's gaslighting. Our feminism
gaslighting,
working. Period. Labor. Period. So I don't even.
Now she just admitted our feminism involved working. Why do all of a sudden now you don't want to work? Why? He's working. We're talking about a guy with a job. He's working. We're talking about working. Nobody talking about not working. What is she talking about? So there's something else. This is what the problem happens. This is where the problem breaks down. Because in the back of people's mind, they have another image. When they're saying words that we all understand one way, in the back of their head, there's some. She probably has scarcity mindset. That's probably what's going on in her head. I'm afraid that I won't have enough and this guy will drag me down. He's working, but he'll drag me down in lifestyle in some kind of way. She's heard horror stories, and that's what's going through her head, which again, all of her parent sacrifice will still be for nothing because she'll never marry a man, or she'll wait until she's in her 40s and won't be able to put forth a family. It's just a mess. It's just such bad ideology, man.
Even like we're entitlement is someone who's asking for something that they cannot offer themselves. We're asking for things to be matched. So again, spiritual word. Okay, if you following this page after this as a Black woman, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you. So let me continue. It says force. Okay, that's the problem with you Black women, with you women, Black women especially. Y'all have this sense of entitlement and privilege as if you deserve what you say you want in a man. This is crazy. What does one's career have to do with love and marriage? Everything. Everything. Y'all are so fixated on your accomplishments, degrees, and goals that y'all are so far out of touch on reality. Y'all describe a man's.
And again, a second ago, she just said, what does your career have to do with love and marriage? She said everything. So the career, what does it mean other than money? Because she hasn't talked about anybody's well-being or sense of achievement or sense of self-esteem or community engagement. So she can only mean the money. And that was, again, preceded by her saying, we're consumed by money. Money. So she goes back to back to back. Every time she talks, she contradicts the things she had just finished saying.
/ husband, like a job description in an HR handbook. Men don't give a damn about your career. Men judge a woman who they want to marry based off her personality, character, respect, and heart. All this aligning jobs and careers is complete bullshit in social media aesthetics. I'm assuming that's what they meant because they did not spell that right. And y'all wonder why y'all single and a simple woman who may not have much is in love and happily married. She led with love and not with her goddamn resume. And see, this is what I be talking about. Like this whole blaming and shaming women is a manipulation tactic, and I'm really tired of it. It's associated with fear mongering and scarcity.
Now, again, that's all she's been doing this entire time: shaming and blaming black men, fear mongering
mindset. Okay, because it's always, oh, a black woman has to choose between having a healthy marriage with a broke dusty, or she has to sacrifice, I guess, finances to have that. And I don't understand, why is it that a black woman can't be accomplished and have a personality? Like, if we're accomplished, oh, we can't have a personality. Or if we have a personality, we got to be dumb as hell and we can't have that many accomplishments. I don't know how you guys, you subject yourself to this. I have to say, you guys.
Yeah, she's confused, man. I'm lost. She's saying black people don't have anything,
Boy,
and the women don't have anything, but don't let men take their stuff, although the women have nothing. Yeah, she's confused. She's confused. You want to jump in for a hit play?
She's talking about why black women can't have money. She's talking about why black women can't have money and a personality.
Because they don't understand opportunity costs. Yeah, they don't understand opportunity costs. It's just unlikely. You can have everything, but in a very minimal quantity. You're not going to be Mozart and the Hall of Fame NFL linebacker and Chris Rock and a world famous neurosurgeon and parent of the year. You're not gonna get the championship in everything. There's an opportunity cost. You just don't have the time. You don't have the energy. You don't have the money for everything. There is a sacrifice, and that's where it seems like a lot of people are losing right now because they don't understand. You're gonna have to give up something to get something. If there are three things and you've got two hands, you can probably only hold on to two. Trying to hold on to three, you're probably gonna drop them all, or at least there's a math problem. We don't understand basic principles, just basic stuff. Basics.
I was gonna say, y'all the money. That's what she was talking about. Being rich and having a personality. One don't equal the other, because y'all, for whatever y'all getting in the money, y'all definitely lacking a personality. That's what you're talking about. Y'all parents work. She was talking about like her parents work for nothing. Well, see, your parents put you in a position to make money. The problem is they didn't teach you how to be a quality, to have like some sense, like, I
haven't seen that issue she's talking about with married women who have a career. I have seen men and women have it all. I think she needs to improve her circle. That's possible. Oh. He gonna pop back in. Bam. But there definitely is a thing. Having it all, you're not going to have it all at the maximum quantity, Apex. It's just not possible. You can't maximize everything in your life. That's just, you can feel like everything is to its maximum potential in your life, but not to its max. Like again, this is a math problem. I'm not even gonna break down the math. Because you can't spend 100% of the time with your kids getting them groomed to maximum effectiveness, and 100% of the time in your career, and 100% of the time on yourself. You just cannot spend 100% of the time on every single thing. You're going to have to start to divvy up the time at some point, and the energy, and the resources. Boom. Looks like he's back. He's back. Let me see. Hold up. Bam. All right. What you were saying? My bad.
And am I still breaking up? I can't hear you.
You couldn't hear me?
No, I'm saying you was muted. Am I breaking up?
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
A little bit. It's still a little crackly, but it's not as bad as it was. You might want to go ahead and get that thought out.
No, I was just saying, for all the setting up, they feel like the parents would have did, I would have gone away. Like how to treat a man is the part that they didn't teach you. And for whatever money, that's what I'm saying, for whatever money you're making, the problem makes your money is your personality. You know, if a man find a woman with really good personality, he's damn near bent over backwards to give her the world. We gotta like you too. We just not finna give you shit because you feel like you deserve it.
Let me hit this real quick. We're in the final countdown, y'all. Last 6 minutes of this. We've had a lot of stupid.
I have to say y'all, because I have decentered being, I have stepped away from the Black community. It's toxic. Because first and foremost, we keep having the same conversations. Either you're going to do something about it and shut up, or you're not going to do something about it and feel the need to still complain. Because I'm done complaining. I'm ready to do something about it. I'm just waiting on other women to be like, okay, let me go do something about it. Because I'm all about getting that solution. And doing the same thing, having the same conversations every week, y'all. This is Monday, and this is what they wanted to talk about.
You heard any solutions yet, y'all?
And the focus is always women, right? Like, if this woman is requiring a man to match her, doesn't that make the community better? Doesn't it make the community better if she was to go out and marry someone of her equal? Doesn't that make the community better? Come on now. I don't get that. It would make the community better for her to go out and marry someone that's financially on her level. She worked her ass off to get in that position. So why wouldn't she marry someone that is financially on her level? And it's not even just financially. It's spiritually. It's emotionally. It's mentally. It's all of the above. Like, I don't understand why is it that they're trying to make it seem like Black women are asking for too much. It's
You gotta
really
have everything.
It's really ridiculous. I feel like
Yeah.
All of the above.
And is she all of the above? I'm saying, like, I'm saying all of this is like she's talking about it's all put on women, but she's put it all on the men the entire time. The entire time she's been it's men. So it's like it's weird when people can't recognize that they're doing this very same thing that they're complaining about. That's weird to me.
We want all of the above. I don't know why people saying Black women ask for too much. I'm gonna repeat those two sentences again because those who said in succession. You said you want all of the above. Then you turn around and say, I wonder why people are saying Black women ask too much. Because you're saying you want all of the above. Nobody gets that. Your man ain't getting all of the above because you saying your job done already.
Her job is done. They did their work. We own nothing. She's literally having the same conversation she's complaining about. Yeah, this is Yanni. We all take L's. We all take L's, which is why your measurement of success can't always be everything because you're going to fail. You're going to falter. And you got to have the same grace for men because you're going to have a bad day. And so is that man. He's going to have a bad day. Nobody's perfect. But just like I think in general, most men have the grace to know that, man, women ain't perfect. But it feels like when it comes in the opposite, when it gets reversed, it's always he's got to have everything tied down, or they'll take nothing. They'll take nothing unless he has everything, and everybody's taking nothing. So everybody will go back to that Surgeon General. There's an epidemic of loneliness. There's an epidemic of loneliness because if people are out here like this, well, my choice has to save the Black community, even though I'm divesting from the Black community because it's too much and da 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 da. It's crazy. We've lost our minds.
Right, and then you need to focus on other things as far as spiritually, mentally, emotionally. That's huge. You know that's huge because nowadays a lot of men. It doesn't even matter if he's Black or not. A lot of men struggle with being emotionally available. Hell, emotionally available, but somehow they want you to do all the work. They want you to do all the emotional labor. That's exhausting too. So I don't know. Like this, girl, this is a mess. This is a mess. It's a mess. And listen, please understand when you follow pages like Spiritual Word, this is how they really feel about you. This is how they really, really feel about you. Whoever be running them pages, this is how they really feel about you.
I think we've heard enough from Yanni. I want to pull in the last component of this, but I just want to offer some commentary before we head into that while I'm pulling that up. I mean, she obviously she was just having a day. Maybe she was having a bad day. She couldn't hear herself talk. Could have been any number of things. When I talked a little bit about the insecurity. A lot of this is offloading the insecurities, and that is what it is. But people feel like they have the need to dunk on the other person. I want to dunk on women. I want to dunk on men. Red pill, Yanni pill, whatever these people are, whatever group or identity they're claiming. They like to dunk on the other person. They're shifting the blame onto the other party. It's typically a very circular thought, and that ball always bounces back. That's just how blame and accountability work. It always comes back to you. There's a choice that you make. You're complicit in everything that happens. Like, the women should be submissive. It feels like a dunk on women, but the ball is the submission, and women don't like getting dunked on. So they try to kick the ball away from the court. But like any good game or contest, you got to pick the ball up, take it out of bounds, and check up. That's just the way it is. Once the men get the ball back, they realize that that's a part of their relationship too. Men have to submit. What I was thinking about it earlier is, if you're talking about somebody has to submit to you, like let's say they have to be your subordinate. Like you're an employee, you're an employer. You're an employer because, you know, black business. You got to start black businesses to save the community. That's how everything's going to work now. So once you've done that, and you hire on a woman, so now she's submitted to you. Well, as a boss, you can't then leave the company. You're always bound to manage. You're always there to run, available for questions and resources and all the kind of things that somebody in that leadership position would be needed for. So you have to submit to being there in a leadership position. Everybody is submitting to the relationship. So that's why it's so silly. Everybody holds that ball. That's why you got to check up. You got to check up. Everybody holds the ball. There's no one person that deals with that. It's real quick. Check. Everybody's got to hold the ball. Everybody, because we all got to play that part. Same thing with this other stuff, the dating down. It feels like a dunk on broke dudes. But look at the ball. If you're dating up, then the men are dating down. So in either case, the black community has the same amount of resources, yours and his. There is no difference in the amount of resources within the black community based upon who you chose. You just chose somebody with more or less on the spectrum of resources. It did not shift. The person at the broke in, the bus driver, did not suddenly make more because you chose him, and somebody that was a CEO did not suddenly make less. The resources are what they are, independent of your dating choice. So, you know, you gotta take the ball, hold the ball. Dating down. He's dating down too. You're worried about your insecurities. And that's something that we have to admit to. Because dudes that have options know they have options. And if he owns a bus, best believe he's going to be picking up other passengers. That's just the way this stuff works. So the ball's bouncing back. Why should he date down? And check up. Don't look for anything in a relationship that you're not willing to give. Equality. You got to be willing to come up off some coin the same way you want him to be coming up off some coin. What I'm asking for is a shift of mentality to come out of this SBE, the shame, blame, and explain. Is crazy. I don't understand why we're leaning into that, but we got to stop. I would think people would want a partner that understands the weight, the costs, and opportunities at their current economic level. So it's not a dunk. Just find somebody that works with you on your level, and understand that if you're trying to if you try to operate out of class, if you're trying to work with somebody that's out of your weight class, there may be some problems. You probably don't understand the power dynamics. If you start trying to hypergamy, you try to date up, you want to get the CEO of the company, he's going to have other passengers. He's going to make other stops. Nobody wants a partner that leaves them feeling like they constantly have to prove their manhood, that they've got to prove their worth. That's what they mean when they're talking about submission. It's a valid complaint, but the word, they use it as a dunk. We got to quit trying to dunk on each other. Submission, dusty dudes, quit trying to dunk. Just check up, because there's a part you're playing in all of this. You're failing too. We're on the same broke down court with no nets and the backboard is bent. We saw the business stats. Even if they're not accurate, you know they're close enough. Nobody's killing it out here. Ain't no Michael Jordans running around out here. Like, stop it. Get some help. This is rec league. Date a bus driver. Like, stop it. Like, seriously. Yo, go ahead real quick. I'm going to catch up on these comments. Let me see. I was looking cautious with Yanni when she talked about Lapeef and the Anton issue that kicked off a lot of drama. Now this, giving her one strike. Hold them, ladies. Check ball. Hey, hold them balls. This internet really reminds me of why I'm a very lucky man. Absolutely. And you just need somebody you can work with, man. Let all these words and verbiage, man, let that stuff go. The concepts and the bad ideology, let that stuff go. Find a person that you're willing to work with in all the capacities. Work with them. They're going to be deficient. They're not going to have everything you like. They're not going to be perfect. Calm that down, men or women. It doesn't even matter. But Yella, do you have something to say before we get our last word from our sponsor?
No, sir.
Listen, our sponsor today, and I really do want to thank and appreciate Greyhound, for supporting the stream today and sticking up for the bus drivers. My old pastor was a bus driver. That's what's up.
Hey guys, Travis Pastrana here. Come take a tour of my Greyhound. Greyhound is the largest bus service in North America with over 3,800 destinations in their network.
Sounds respectable to me.
Greyhound is now offering e-tickets for certain destinations. About 18 million people travel on Greyhound every year, traveling about 5.5 billion miles. Besides the comfort of extra legroom and leather seats, all Greyhound buses have power outlets in every seat, as well as Wi-Fi and a place to go to the bathroom. And if you want some privacy, there's plenty of legroom in here too, plus an emergency call button if you need assistance. And did you know traveling by bus is the most environmentally friendly means of transportation? One bus is the equivalent of taking 50 cars off the road and achieves 184 passenger miles per gallon.
Economical.
Thanks for checking out my Greyhound,
sound.
guys. See you live, Las Vegas, July 8th.
Wow. Man, thank you, Greyhound, for letting us know that bus drivers are really going places these days. Appreciate that. But when we are getting into the meat of this, the solution, I'm trying to make sure we include solutions. And I know Chef has probably moved on with his day, but we're about to get to the section that is including Miles Monroe. And I'm probably just going to let this play out. It's probably about 10 minutes of video, but just listen to the wisdom of Miles Monroe, because this is what we should be choosing off of. Hopefully it plays. Hopefully it plays. But, my stuff been funky today, y'all. Funky. Does sound like a good investment. This motherfucker said Greyhound. Logs off. Listen. Bus drivers, man, they're going places, y'all. They're going places. But Dr. Dearly departed late, Dr. Miles Monroe. I sent a stream. I got sent a stream with him, and the whole end part just kind of encapsulated what I wanted to kind of end up today. So I'd rather let him tell it. Much more articulate, much more insightful. But this is the solution. Don't worry about the current position. You need to worry about what that character is looking like. Those leadership traits, those leadership qualities. And again, women too. I wouldn't pick somebody that said some of the circular arguments and goofy stuff that Yanni said. Once I hear stuff like that, I know your mind's not in the right place. We wouldn't be able to work together. But I want Miles Monroe to tell y'all about leadership, because what you're looking for, what Yanni and all these people think they're looking for, is leadership. But they're looking for it through the outcomes of leadership. But what you need to do is find somebody who has the qualities, because then everything they do will be done in good order and to the benefit of you, the family, themselves. That's what a leader does, and that's what you need to find in your partner of any gender. They need to have these type of qualities.
In your spirit is married to your ability in the flesh, you become a leader. Your mentality and your ability must be married. So when you marry your ability with your mentality, a leader is born. And this is why We can never fully carry out our leadership mandate if we don't have the mentality of leadership. And we have to integrate that attitude with our attributes, our aptitude, and our altitude will produce the leadership we require. In other words, leadership is not about ability, it's about mentality first. This is why leaders they can walk into a room, change the room. Why? Their attitude and their mentality is completely different. Sometimes I'd walk into a meeting and they're discussing issues, and I say, what's the issue? They discuss it, they tell me what it is, and I'd go, oh, that's simple. And I'd say, let's just do this. Why don't we try this? They go, we never thought of that. Because we are so blocked in our thinking. Leaders look at elephants as lunch. They simplify life. I tell my wife all the time, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Life is simple, man. Don't get complicated. Leaders keep it simple. I ain't got no money, let's go create some money. That's how leaders think. They don't go, I ain't got no money, I'm broke. They say, let's go create some money.
Hallelujah.
Because wealth is not something God gives, it's created. I am the God that gives you the ability to create wealth. I don't give wealth, God says. I create it. So you're not poor and you're not jobless. You just ain't thinking.
Hallelujah. That's good. That's good teaching. That's good.
Every problem is a business. So to a leader, what you think is more important than what you do. I guess that's the whole measure of these two sessions. Thinking. Grappling with that Greek mentality. Destroying the Roman corruption in your mind. Being free from what people said about you. This is the heart of it. I want to close this session with the spirit of leadership. Now these, you can get this in the books back there, but I want to go through them very quickly, and I want you to read them with me because I think it'll probably sink into your spirit if you articulate it verbally. These are what I have researched and decoded as the obstacles of people becoming leaders. If you get these, I will see you at the top. Number one, I call it the spirit of leadership. Number one, let's read together. Go. The spirit of a strong self-concept, which is a true sense of your source. Now, I could teach that for 2 weeks. You got to know your source to develop your self-image. Number two, read. The spirit of a healthy self-concept. What is it? A perception of your true nature. That means a photograph of your life that you carry in your head. Number three, the spirit of self-confidence. What is that? A belief in your inherent ability. This is very important. A leader has a spirit of total conviction that they could solve any problem. I can't tell you how important that is. So leaders never panic. A true leader never panics. They sit and they think, this could be solved. That's where their confidence comes from. They have a confidence that they have an inherent ability to solve any problem. Inherent ability. The favorite words of Jesus: peace, have no fear. In the middle of a storm, peace, be not afraid. What are you talking about? We're getting ready to drown. Be not afraid. Why? There's a solution to every problem. And I am the solution. I'm going to stop the storm. He believed in his inherent ability. Number four, read. The spirit of self-significance. What is it? A sense of valuable contribution to the world. This one is very critical. When you're going to become what you were born to be, You got to discover your significance. You are not a biological accident. You are not an experiment that God sent to earth to try to figure out. You were literally born because there's something God needed done that made you necessary. You are necessary. Say it. I am necessary. Say it loud. I am necessary. Say it louder. I am necessary. I want you to tell the world that every day you wake up. They need you. There's something you came here with that your generation needs. So you were not sent here just to make a living. You were sent here to make a difference. Your significance. Number 5, read. The spirit of passion. What is that? A deep conviction and determination of your heart. In other words, you found something that you are willing to die for. That's passion. All leaders are dead before they died. You got to figure that one out. Number 6, read. The spirit of excellence. What is that? A striving to always improve self and work. That's what leaders do. They never satisfy. That's why, I buy 4 or 5 books every month. My iPad is full of books. I'm always reading. Why? Self-improvement. Constantly. Some of you would walk past the book table and want to be a leader. And go straight to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I'm sitting there going, what are you doing? Come on now. You got a choice between cholesterol and concepts. Yeah. It's self-improvement all the time. The next time you hear about this event, I want you to bring all your people with you, man. If you are a pastor, you should have all of your people here. Why? All of them. If you love them, you want to improve them.
Amen. Amen.
You want to produce leaders. Number 6, read. The spirit of excellence. Number 7, the spirit of compassion. What is that? A sensitivity to the value of others. This is important. If you are a leader, you must be aware that everybody is equal to you. So you treat people with respect. I'm talking about the maintenance guy in the back room. When you meet him there, you bow and say, Your Excellency. See, this compassion is missing. There's some pastors who have no compassion. I'm listening to pastors. I go to the church to preach and I hear them talk to people. I'm like, oh man, I want to leave this church right now. This is a demon. The way you treat your people. Who do you think you are? When you die, they will never visit your tomb. When you make people valuable, they make you valuable. Yes. Number 8, read. The spirit of creativity. What is that? A belief in the untested and the untried. If you are a leader, you got that spirit. You believe that if it hasn't been done before, it can be done. The untested. Creativity. A leader always tries new things. Failure means nothing to a leader. It simply means find another way. Creativity. Number 9, read. The spirit of self-empowerment. That means a desire to see others succeed. Number 10, the spirit of self-improvement. What does that mean? A personal commitment to your own growth. Number 11, the spirit of self-discipline. What does that mean? A commitment to a self-imposed standard of life on yourself. This is very important. A leader doesn't need external discipline. they impose on themselves discipline. I do not commit adultery. So they impose it on themselves. I am faithful to my spouse. So they are imposing on themselves. Paul calls it beating your flesh under. That's leadership. I do not tell lies. I impose it on myself. I don't gossip about people. I impose it on myself. I don't undermine my workers. I impose it on myself. I trust the people I give authority to. I impose. In other words, they are always disciplining themselves. I will do good in the dark. I will do right when no one is watching. Self-imposition. That's what leaders are. You can trust a leader when no one's around because they discipline themselves. When a leader falls into immorality, it's because they have no self-discipline. When you lose self-discipline, you have no right to discipline anybody else. You lose the right to lead. Leadership is not a right you demand. It's a privilege that the followers give you. The only thing a leader has to work with is trust. When you violate that, you're canceled. You're an empty title walking in a robe. Discipline yourself to protect trust.
Thank you once again for listening to this.
All right, good people. Instead of focusing solely on external markers, I say people need to look for those characteristics. I know he used the word leader, but I think anyone that's dating should look for that list. Look for evidence of those traits and characteristics and whoever they're talking to. He said in there something about find something you are willing to die for. Most of us know that the things that we are killing ourselves for are not worth our lives, which is one of the reasons we're so miserable, because we know we're burning through our lives for things that don't have any meaning to us. If we really had a well-built Black community, it would still require buses to move people from homes to businesses and back. So there's no shame in having a bus driver in the community. That's one of the people you would need if if everybody did everything they were supposed to do and we built up a Black business base, we would still need bus drivers. And that was a lot of B's, I know. But, alliteration is what it is. We would also need janitors because somebody's going to have to clean stuff and somebody's going to come around and collect garbage. And if you really had a Black community that was whole, you would need people that had dirty jobs. And they would have to believe that they had worth in what they did. Like Dr. Miles Monroe said, you can do those jobs and find meaning and find purpose in them because there's value to them. Not having trash everywhere keeps people from getting sick. Being able to move people from home to business keeps people employed because they don't have to drive cars or find parking. It's a resource. These people, bus drivers, janitors, plumbers, they are resources and they are resourceful. If there's a construction issue, the bus driver has to reroute and detour. He's got to figure that out on the fly. We think so much less of people because of their job status, but there's value to their humanity. And it's right what Apex said. It's uncompassionate. The men who are constantly trying to dunk on women for not being submissive, the women who are trying to dunk on men for not having enough money, it lacks compassion. it's stripping away the people's humanity. It doesn't take into consideration the lived everyday realities that these people have to face to get where you think they should be because of what you want, because you're selfish, because of your selfish and short-sighted viewpoint, because it's bad ideology, it's bad culture that we're passing down. We're not passing generational wealth. That's not what we're giving to each other. We're giving generational trauma. We're passing that down. It's in it by the handful, hand over fist, man. We're just passing trauma, over lack, over abuse, over neglect. We're passing that down. Even when we get up and talk on a panel, that's what we're doing. Just shovels. Just shovel it in people's ears and people's eyes. Nothing but trauma. We're not passing down a lot of wealth. How many times do you have to hold back saying the power of the Black Panther shall be stripped away? I can't stand you. We need all positions, all hands on deck. Absolutely. And if you really wanted a functional world, you would know that you're going to have to train children for all of the functions of society. Because everybody's not going to have the capacity and aptitude for every level. If the only thing that the only person you could see yourself with is somebody at the top, well, you got a really you got a big climb ahead of you. Because now we found a culture where everybody thinks they should deserve the top. Well, you're going to be climbing and competing the entire way up. Climbing and competing. Well, you're already talking about you don't want to work like that. You've done your work. No, you're never done working. Because even if you find this person that's at the top and you've climbed and competed to get there, you're going to have to keep climbing and compete to stay there. Because as they continue to climb, nobody that you meet that's high outcome, high earner, wherever they got when you met them, they're going to keep climbing. If they're the person you think they are, they're going to keep climbing. And they have a high ascendancy rate, which means you're going to have to keep pace. Because there's a lot of people that you're going to still compete to climb. Even if they marry you, you're going to have to compete and climb. Because the system that you're setting up and playing into, where his only value as a man is because of his money, he's going to feel that and know that. He's not going to value you as a person because you didn't value him as a person. You only valued him as a purse. So we got to get this idea. We got to get the ideology straight, man. We got to get this straight. Find those qualities of a leader in a man or a woman, whoever you're looking for. If you can't find evidence of all of those aspects in the way they live their life, there's going to be a lot of character deficiency in them. The fewer things that you can find evidence of, the more character deficiency you're going to find, the more problems you're going to have in your relationship. Doesn't matter if everyone got a degree in engineering. There's still someone who's going to make pizza. Facts. Takes a lot of character to do dirty jobs. Absolutely. And then to on the back end denigrate them, on the back end shame them for doing a job that society relies upon. That's an unfair breach of the social contract. Because Ebony K Williams, I guarantee. Now again, she does not have. I spoke about what she does not. She should not probably look for a bus driver. It's probably not the best thing for her. But to shame it, to be so uncompassionate, like Apex said, when I guarantee somebody she relies upon, her makeup artist, somebody that does her hair, somebody for the costume, somebody for the lighting, somebody that sets her up to look her best in her career, that she did the work. She did the work. She did her work. Somebody is relying on the bus driver that she won't date. And it's cool to not date them. What is not cool is to shit on them when you won't date them. That's not okay. And people that are okay with that not okayness are also a problem. And that's the only reason I'm doing this. Ultimately, I can't make anyone choose to shift their thoughts and their speech. But I got to try to put something different out. Because I'm up against people like Yanni. Who else is going to put out something different? I need people to check up.
Check.
Check.
We all got to hold the ball. And then we could all make buckets. Check up, people. What you think, Yella?
She still lost to a nigga with torn ACL. She still lost a nigga with a torn ACL. That's the results that you, because you think because he got a torn ACL or because you looking at him because he a bus driver. And guess what? He's still gonna end up with somebody while you by yourself. And then they'll tell themselves something like, well, that's what God, if God ain't had nobody playing for me, that's just what's gonna happen. No. That's you. At this point, it's you. So you still gonna lose to the bus driver. You still gonna lose to the dude with a torn ACL. Because you think you better than him. That's why it's like, man, you ain't seen that part, dude. You ain't seen that movie once, bro. That's my shit. That's my shit. I came out of a nice formative time for me too. I was playing ball. My girlfriend was on the basketball team. We was living that life. We was loving basketball. Hell yeah. We was that.
That's what's up.
We was that. And he whooped that ass on a bad knee.
Yes. Look for the mindset, because everything else, as a quantum metaphysician, you know that everything that matters is going to manifest from the mind. Everything that truly matters is going to manifest from the mind. So if the mind is corrupt, you're going to manifest corruption. You want to find the traits of leadership. But what everybody does because it's hard work. It's hard work and it takes time to look into somebody's character and evaluate the way they live their life and the way they treat people. It takes a lack of self-study. You have to look at others. You have to look at somebody else and care about what they're doing. That means you can't be selfish and narcissistic. You can't be so self-centered to actually evaluate another person, which is why most people fail. So as a shortcut, what we do is, oh, he's got a great job. That must mean he's disciplined and educated and this and that and the other. We start making assumptions based upon their outcome. The same way you would see a small person and say, oh, they must work out. They're small. Well, no, some people are just built different. And then you'll get in, like, I've met some small people, small frame, like 90 pounds, but they eat trash. They eat like garbage, can't put on weight, cannot put on weight. If you only look at what you see on the outside, you'll be misled. And there's some big people I know that eat very healthy and work out a lot, and they just cannot get below a certain threshold. They just can't seem to. So it's crazy. Yeah, you got it right. You're looking for a mindset. And because our culture is so corrupted, our culture is so, I don't even know the best word for it. We look for the outcome that a person obtained, and then we try to reverse engineer what characteristics they must have had to have gotten there. And we're not good at it.
Dog, say that shit. Say that shit.
We're not good at it.
I promise you, motherfuckers just out here trying to copy and paste.
Yeah,
I seen this person
is.
do that, so I'm gonna go back and do the same. It do not work like that because you're expecting the same results, and you could do the same exact steps, and guess what? You still might not get them results because that's just the way how life works. And if you ain't prepared to do all the steps and not get the results, then you're not prepared to live a full life then.
Yep. New study alert. I got closed down YouTube. I can't click on that. But y'all, we are getting ready to get out of here. I'm gonna go over to my other StreamYard and start the other one because I just want to keep those separate. Knowledge relationships live talk with motherhood, sex, marijuana. That sounds interesting. All right, cool. And then JP, maybe I'm supposed to start smoking weed because JP, cannabis, coffee, and cookies, right next to knowledge and relationship live talk with motherhood, sex, marijuana. That's interesting. Interessante. So, yeah, these women swear up and down. Hold up. These women swear up and down that they are looking for their Boaz, but end up with the ignorant ass, stupid ass, lazy ass, and he will be whooping your ass. Yeah, I saw this preacher doing that once. I had it in a clip for once. They're saying incels are 8 times more likely to be autistic. I was right for calling that. Yeah, me and Bree been talking about that, especially in this manifest space. A lot of the people who are online doing a lot of complaining, like the real complaining, the shaming and blaming, a lot of them have cognitive challenges or what's the other word we've been using? Neuroatypicality, however you want to say that. Neurodivergent. There's a lot of that. And we don't speak about it because people are untested. People don't know. So they're just going on living their lives thinking they're fine and everybody else is the problem, but they're unable. And that's on top of people with personality disorders. But again, like we talked about with the Black community, a lot of the stuff is unrecognized, untreated, undiagnosed. Like it's all of that. All of that. But here we get out here, Yella. You got any final thoughts before we wrap this one up, before we close one out?
No, sir.
Cool. All right. Well, listen, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out, man. I think I was supposed to be adding something else, and I forgot to add it. I surely did. I forgot what it was too. I forgot to do something. Ooh, Rashawn. I forgot to do something. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. Hope y'all have a good day. I'll see y'all in a few. Peace.